Hello, everybody. Excited had me giggling at the start when he was... How you doing? Got a little flush in there, I know. So, how you been this week? I know I haven't seen much of me this week, even though I plan to. I was working on the roads this week. I was working on that, and I didn't get as much as I want to get done. But I did change things from last week. We worked on the blueprint last week, and while I wasn't super... I enjoyed working on the blueprint, but I didn't really like the build with him. So I've decided to change it up, and I wanted to do something more different. So I kind of started coming up with a tower. Although I'm going to do a lot more with it. But I kind of want to make it really tall. So that's kind of what and I have an idea what I need to do. But today I kind of need to... Yeah, big tower. I just didn't like doing the blueprint. I feel like it takes away the soul, and I can't customize. Because building the factory is my favorite part. Hello, Queen. Tristan, excited. We got Ralphie and Ed over in Twitch. We've got excited Tristan and Ralphie also on YouTube. You got one in progress, TurboFuel Factory? Yeah. I am doing a kind of a large one out here. We kind of built a blueprint last week for it, but then it just made it too simple, and putting the blueprint everywhere I kind of feel like it took the soul out of my kind of build style. So I like doing it a little bit more by hand. I like using blueprints where they're flexible and I can customize and do what I want with them. Like the roads, where you can take something that's a little tedious and like use it everywhere. You started your mega highway yesterday. Gonna need more concrete. Yeah, I like disassembled the other factory we did, and I put it in a few containers down here, and then I was like, we had upgraded the coal to 100 per minute, and I would have built this, so I had to keep stealing concrete and other stuff from the containers. So this is kind of just the start of it. What I kind of really need to figure out today is exactly how I kind of want to wire it up. I've probably got a little bit more room than I need to, which I think is fine. And because I know the basics, like I could do the fuel and everything down here, and I could do the TurboFuel upstairs, although I could do TurboFuel downstairs. So I didn't like wire it up. I was like, I need to place it. I added a bunch of extra floors. Might not need them all. Might need more. Not quite sure yet. So I just kind of need to figure out exactly how I want to sort of wire it up today, and then everything will come together, I think, pretty quickly, because the factory part is fun. I already added a catwalk. I consider this a temporary catwalk, but I didn't want to have to like jetpack up from floor to floor. And I left the middle open because from the top, my thought is I'd like to keep it, you'd be able to look down on all the floors. There's going to be some belts and pipes and probably some catwalks in there. But I think it'd be fun to be inside the building and be able to look down and kind of see all the floors from the top. Whoopsie. Almost fell off. It's really tall, though. I only added refineries. The refineries are sort of temporarily placed. I just put 10 on each floor on each side. That's kind of thinking, 10 for heavy oil residue if I underclocked them, and 10 for diluted fuel. But then I left the top fuels kind of empty, as I said. I was kind of trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. But once I get that, we're just going to throw factories together and start belting together. Some of the stuff, the challenge with this obviously is going to be vertical, dealing with any liquids we push up. We have to deal with head lift. Maybe I'll do a water tower, which I don't do often. Temporary is a quick tendency to become permanent. That's true. I did make some changes, though, to fit this in. No one likes to... You just unlock the hover pack. Oh, the hover pack will be so nice for this build, but I got a little work to do to get 7-8 unlocked. So you might look at the coal plant. If you've seen the other video, how I expanded the coal plant, well, I shrunk it back down, and I used power shards, and I doubled everything. So I have a ton of power shards, and I have a ton of slugs. So I was like, why not just overclock everything by 200%, and I could shrink the coal factory by half and give me some more room here to kind of set up this tower. So that worked out. So that's running, from what I think, it's running stably with no problems. And so I thought it'd be fun to be able to look down. I left room for the geothermal in the center, and there's plenty of height for water extractors, so water extractors shouldn't be a thing. Now, the tower is not going to just be a straight tower. I have got 2 or 3 ideas how I want to do the exterior. And it depends on how everything goes. But I have a feeling I know the one I want to do probably is going to have extensions around the corners of some kind. Maybe large extensions, make it a very blocky. And that's where all the fuel generators will go. Yeah, it's very erect, excited. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I thought. So it'd be kind of blocky. The other options, I think I might go more sleek, but that makes me go, I don't know where I'm going to put the fuel generator. So I'm not going to worry too much about the external side right now. I think right now I just want to figure out how I'm going to wire it together, where I'm going to put everything. Because I mean, like, I could put the diluted fuel at the top and have, you know, just have to pipe up the oil up there and the water all the way up there. And then the fuel will have all that head lift available to it. And then the turbo fuel in the middle or something. I don't know, or the bottom. I guess you could do. But, or, you know, just work it up and just deal with the head lift issues as they come. You picked a far more terrifying place to build. More terrifying? Yeah, I got to admit. To be honest, you're right, Dencon. I thought the Blue Crater was going to be a tough starting spot. And to be honest, once I went out and did that bit of a hard drive hunt, and I've learned more about the world, this place is not that terrifying. It's quite mild and peaceful here in the Blue Crater, all things considered. So, yeah, the Blue Crater is pretty tame, actually. There's a gigantic hole in the world with a waterfall with uranium chunks on top of it. Is that the one in the grasslands? I don't know about the uranium down there, but I don't know where all they had all the uranium, but... Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Actually, I don't. I know a couple spots where there's a waterfall. There's one in the desert where there's a waterfall hole in the world. But overall, so yeah, this is pretty tall. It might need another floor. I don't really know. And as I said, the floors are kind of spacious. I gave myself extra room than I possibly need. Oh, the one of the grasslands. Yeah, that's... can I see it from here? Oh, the one over there? I can't even ping it. It's so far away. Wow, I can't ping that far. It's all fake that far. But yeah, I think that's the giant hole. That's a pretty terrifying place to build something, too. I remember Amalia of the Sea did something cool in there. I think she had the space elevator like lowered down as far as she could go, and then she built something around it going up a long time ago. I always thought that was a cool build. All right, so big tower. I think it's going to be more fun this way. The blueprint was great. I had fun building the blueprint that we did. If you didn't see the blueprint, we built this thing last time, if I could put it out. And it's basically a diluted packaged fuel, self-contained build. You know, you just got to feed it the oil and water, and it'll do its thing. It's pretty good, but it was, when I paste this around, it's like it does the work for me. I think something like this is fun if I'm doing like 6 or 10 of them. It's like I just want to do a quick build and just get it done. But when I want to do a big build, it just, to me, it takes away the fun of building the factory. You know, that's kind of my favorite part. I love doing the design, but I really love building the factory. So it kind of just, I want to do it by hand. So, and when we finished the stream and I stared at it for a while, I really thought, you know, it'd be more fun if I had a big tower sitting in the middle of the Blue Crater instead of some giant box that we were kind of building. Because I could have decorated it, we could have did something with it, but this would be fun. And what also I want to do, and I'm going to die here jumping out like this, is I'd love, because I said I probably want to put a hub and a storage center here in the center. It'd be fun if I could have some giant walkway that continues over to that hub in the future. So that way you could go to the hub and then you could walk over to this giant building through some hallway that we'll spend some time on. But that'll have to come a little later. So it'd be fun to do that too. But I want to make sure, probably put some purple lights on it, stuff like that on the outside. So that's kind of what I want to do. I hope not, no one's like, oh, that stream was wasted. It wasn't wasted. It's good stuff. A little bit, but it's going to be more. It's like, this is just the center. I think the decorating on the outside is going to be different. I'm not going to make it just a rectangle going up. That's going to be the challenge. It's true. I could have done a circle. I thought about that. I thought about doing a circle, But with the stuff we already have in the blue crater, it was going to be challenging. And I figure I'll do a circle later. How I started my build was all the way down on the floor with the geyser in the centerpiece. Ah, yeah, it's kind of, I got the geyser there as the center. I could have lowered it down further, but that's where I put the thing. So at the base, it's going to extend out a little bit. And then, as I said, if we do the fuel towers on the corners, we'll have, each corner will have its own kind of like extra square. Yeah, I know, it's still a bit of a box. It's boxes and boxes. I could do circles, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Well, let's get the internal workings kind of working first. Let's see here. So, as I say, one thing I need to figure out today is exactly how I want to wire it. What if your tower was kind of shaped like a coral or mushroom? I thought about it. I had looked. I'd used AI. I was trying several different things. Make me a quick concept. I've thought about a few different things. I was actually playing with a few different things. I was learning some other curve methods. I'm not going to use all the oil. Right now, I'm going to be using about 1,200 crude, which we're going to make turbo fuel and diluted fuel. So we'll make about 975 turbo fuel is the plan, and about 2030 fuel. So we should be getting close to 60,000 megawatts out of this. I could use more oil, but this thing will get huge. I think 60,000 megawatts before we add power augmenters is not bad. I probably have enough summer sloops to do a few. I could probably do, if I unlock them, I could probably do a couple augmenters. But no, I don't think we're going to use all the oil, because I'd like to use it for plastic too. Because I started here. This is my starting world. I still got to do rubber, some more rubber and plastic and computers, and I'm sure we're going to do something bigger later when we get to rocket fuel or ionized fuel. But I thought it'd be fun to do this, and I want to kind of get it done. So I kind of need to plan it out. And there's different ways. As excited as like pointing out, he's going to draw me up a concept for a mushroomy tower, which is certainly possible. I had thought about it. I had looked at a few concept arts. I had used AI to generate me some images of ideas. I had looked at some other things. And I was kind of come up with the art. And I actually played around. I was trying to like, how could I do some interesting curves? And I actually found, I saw a tip for something with pillars. Let me find a spot here. And I was like, and I learned, I have avoided the diagonal. When it comes to beams, I've avoided using diagonals because I'm like, for the most part, I thought they're useless. Let me find a platform to work on here instead of on the ground. I guess any foundation work. Let me just put down some foundations here. But they actually have some interesting properties that I have learned. I was playing around with this in my new roads, my new road world, where I'm building up all my new road set for 1.0, which I'm almost done with that. It's got some new, it works out pretty well. But one thing I learned is how to deal with some curves. There's the interesting thing about diagonal mode is it obviously like freeform mode, you can go anywhere, but diagonal mode does stick to certain axes, which I was like, oh, this is nice. And it can go up. So I was like, this is interesting. So if you build let's say we build a pillar, be easier with flight mode, but I don't have flight mode. You can, depending on which way you want to curve, you can literally use diagonal mode to build anywhere you want. And you could, actually, yeah, we can do it this way. I got an idea. Let's do this. Put a beam right there. So, oops. I'm gonna bring it up to make it easier. So I don't have to do a whole bunch of fancy work. No, 1 meter up. That's fine. All right. Get rid of that. Let's say I wanted to curve up. Like, you could come out here. You could come out to any way you want, and you could come up a little bit or a lot. And then maybe you want to go free form. You can go like 4 meters out. And then you can attach the beam. And you could do default mode, just attach it like that. And it's just a quick way to do a pillar. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I could do it again. I could come out like 10 meters, go up however much if I want to go up more. And I was just like, I was just playing with this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, you could just create interesting... Probably use default mode. You could just do curves. So it's an interesting, just an interesting little tactic. And I tried other things where I was like, could I create like a curve of, could I create a curve of like lights or something? And I started doing something like this, where I'd come out, you know, some distance, go to diagonal mode. And then I would do the same thing, freeform out 1 meter, and then delete the bigger one. And then I could do the same thing back to diagonal mode, come out, whatever. And just kind of like keep adjusting the curve. This is just a quick example. There's probably a more exact science way to do it, but you could create a curve and then add lights to it of some kind. Single lights, or you could use extended lights if it was in a wall or something. And then, you know, give it color. But you could create something. So I'm like, I finally found uses for diagonal mode. I didn't have any uses for it before. And I'm like, oh, there's a whole new set of possibilities to play with diagonal mode. So I'm sure there's even way more combinations than that's just what I was playing with this weekend. Once I kind of learned that little trick, I was like, oh, that's amazing. I don't know where I saw it, so I don't know, so I can't go. I did not make it. I did not come up with that basic turn. I saw it somewhere, someone doing something, and that just gave me a whole bunch of ideas to start playing with it. So but I don't remember who. So I think it was on a YouTube short. I saw someone doing something and made me go, oh, let me go play with that and try it. So I just thought that was interesting, and I was like, oh, I can do all kinds of stuff like that. And what is it? There's like, I think it was Maker Gaming. He was like doing parabolas with beams. I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. But I was like, I don't know what I could do with that. Although I had one idea. So round stuff, yeah, there's possibilities. I'm sure you could do a circle as well. Makes me think, actually, you could do a circle with foundations using the same concept that I did for the merge grid. Now that we're talking about it, I know I'm talking, but where's the foundations? Wrong button. Just put down another. Just give me a few foundations. I could just do this on top of the tower. It would be fine. Creatures in the way? Who's in the way? Where? There is no creature. Okay, whatever. Made me just think, though. In theory, if you put a foundation down, I bet if we did diagonal mode, I just think this might be a new way to do turns. So I guess it'd be hard. This is gonna take some thought, obviously, how to do this right. Was that diagonal mode? Or that's freeform. That explains it. But maybe if you had a consistent length or something, and then you learn to, can you do it sideways? Oh, will it not go sideways? It won't go sideways. Oh, darn. That would have been cool for doing circles if it went sideways, but it only goes up. I'm in default mode. Maybe that explains it. Yeah, it only sticks to 2 axes based off what you're at, and then go up. All right, so that unfortunately, it would be cool though if you could have gone, if it would have held its axis vertically, and you could have gone to the right, you could have done the same concept with foundations. But I guess you could do it freeform, but yeah, it'd be, oh well. All right, that idea fell through. Too bad foundations don't go rotate vertical. I'm sure there's plenty of other cool things and ways to play with that particular diagonal method. But finally, it has a use. I'm sure other people have figured this out a long time ago and like, yeah, where have you been? Under a rock? All right, time to think. Oh, excited did something. Let me look at Twitch. Oh, I see what you're saying. Where there's like little bits sticking out of it, like a mushroom on a tree. Yeah, definitely would be cool. We could do that for fun, decorative stuff on the way up. I don't know how much factory we could put in there, although we could if you made it big enough. Oh yeah, Micromanager. I love that stuff. Micromanager. Before I did YouTube, because obviously when I did YouTube, I didn't use a lot of mods. I use like content creator mods, just simply because usually when I'm like demonstrating something for people, a lot of people don't use mods or want to use mods. So usually I kind of need to stick to vanilla stuff unless I specifically make like a modded playthrough. And it's just because you like to show people what they could possibly do with the game. But I used to love playing with Micromanager. You could do some cool stuff with it. It was good, but back then I used to, like, if you'd make a mistake with a big chunk of factory, you would just highlight the whole thing with Micromanager and kind of move it a little bit. You'd be like, ah, perfect. Yeah, Excited's like the living Micromanager. Like, his stuff, I need to go, like, watch him. I just need to, like, watch him build and pick up the little things he does, because he's got so many, probably, like, built-in stuff now that, like, ideas, and like if I could just learn some of it, I might be able to be just 1% as good as he is when it comes to like building good stuff. Hello, Critical. How you doing? I liked Micromanager for a couple things. I didn't do any crazy stuff with it, like shrink and grow stuff. But I know the real, like, there's some people out there. 100 building tricks in Satisfactory. Yeah, Alex Excited needs to make a video about that. Like he's got a whole bag of tricks up his sleeve. Oh yeah, he was so Excited was telling me, he's like, why don't you do something like the mushroom stuff, which means like building like random, like I have a tower, because he drew a little quick picture, and is like maybe have like a circle that comes out of a floor, like a viewing with like windows or viewing angles or something. It's certainly possible. So like those big wide mushrooms you see growing on a tree, like that's certainly possible. That would make the tower different. The question I have, if I did that, it's like, where am I going to put all the fuel generators? Unless I went straight up. If like, but then we're going to be pumping fuel to the heavens if we go straight up. Like, that'd be crazy. How many fuel generators do we need? I think it was 7. If we do 975 TurboFuel divided by 7.5, that's 130. It's 130 for just the TurboFuel. And then 2030 divided by 20. It looks like we need 232 fuel generators, unless we overclocked, which I'd have to find a ton of shards. That's true. You have a point, Excited. If I could do that, that would be fantastic. Man, you're right. Like those things. Do I have the skill for this? Because I kind of know what you're saying. We could make, if we made it fit the environment somehow. Could we make funky circles? Yeah, I do that, old man. That's why I had like 50. I had like 50 plus power shards, and as I explained earlier on the stream, I kind of cut to give more room for this. I cut my coal generator in half by overclocking everything. I was like, I'll get those shards back, but I'm not using many for like that. I have a whole bunch of slugs. It's like you can see on the map when I did. This is the kind of area that I've hit for summer sloops and slugs, and there's probably still a few more lingering around, but I cleared out a lot, so I have a whole bunch of slugs. So there's probably 100 or 200 shards of slugs sitting in a container over there. Yeah, when you have unlimited weapons, it's amazing how long you can go, and they've made the world terrifying, like absolutely brutal in some areas. Just brutality. Okay. Mushroom. Yeah. If I do it mushroom style, if I make mushrooms, I got to make sure I'm considering the build, because I want to figure out how I'm going to wire everything today. Because if I do it big enough, if I do mushroomy stuff, I want to make sure that we kind of incorporate that into the build in a sense that I could put stuff in there. The tower may not have to be so big if we did that, but I don't know. trying to get the image in my head, because I could do it like those, or I could do it, you're right, like these, to where I kind of have it. I could just make it decorative. What's the build? It's TurboFuel and fuel. And right now it's a huge, giant sort of tower. I've added more floors than I've used right now, just because I've been trying to think about how to do it. And Excited, which is he's a great artist, and he came up, he's like, I should do some mushroomy things, which is possible. Makes me wonder if I should have done more of a circle in the build. Luckily, I haven't done too much, so I can change it. You'd be surprised at how cooperative the aliens are when you have a rifle and a few gas noblists. I have not tried the gas noblists, though. I should do that. I automated a weapons factory over there. I think we finished it a couple streams ago. We just quickly, it's chaos, you know. It's straight, it's got straight lines, but it's chaos. But it does put almost everything but the pulse and gas noblisk into dimensional storage. So I have them all here. And yeah, I already did a bit of a hunt with it when I was offline. And yeah, the explosive rebar, and I didn't use the cluster noblisk much, but yeah, explosive rebar and rifle ammo were two of my favorites, along with stun rebar. Yeah, the gas noblisk, kind of. That's why I say I should try it more. It's like, I gotta tell you right here, this area up in the tops, holy Shazbot, the enemies are insane. And obviously there's a lot in here. And I did a little bit of the red forest in here because I just ended up to there, and I didn't really go much into the rocky desert, my old stomping grounds. I was like, I'll do another. I haven't unlocked the homing ammo yet, so I was originally tempted to push all the way to 7 and 8 before I did this, because the blender would have made this build slightly easier. TurboFuel is still questionable. Like, I looked at the recipe between the regular TurboFuel and the refinery and the TurboFuel and blenders, and obviously the one in the blender will save you sulfur, which is great, but it costs more oil. So I guess you got to pick your poison on that one. We were talking about, I don't even know where the homing ammo is. Oh, there it is. Oh yeah, I need high-speed connectors, which I have not built yet. So I had a temptation to do that before this, but I didn't do it, so I'm kind of stuck where I am. Homing ammo, probably, wasn't very useful in Update 8. It had problems, plenty of problems in Update 7 and 8. I don't know, it was broken for a while, I forgot, so I just hadn't used it in a long time, and I found the normal rifle ammo to be sufficient in most cases, but they have upped the difficulty of the game, definitely. Yeah, Ed would say I probably need some help, too, when it comes to aiming. He's seen me aim, and it's usually not that great. What was it, a couple streams ago? Someone was like, you can tell when someone's not an FPS shooter when they miss at close range. I'll have to try it. But let's get through this and get it powered up and done. I don't know if we're not going to get all that done today, but the question is, if I go by, I should just show it on screen what Excited posted to me. Let me open up my OBS and make sure that... where's OBS hiding? There it is. Studio mode. This might switch for you. Nope. I don't know which one you're seeing. Why is that? Are you guys seeing a black box on the edge or anything? Hold on. I've just noticed that this OBS, my one on the streaming PC, for some reason had something out of alignment, but that's okay. So when I look up, I've mentioned before, when I look up, I'm looking at my streaming PC's monitor because the second one's running. Now on YouTube, if you let me know if you're watching on YouTube, I changed my encoding settings for YouTube this stream because last stream people were saying they were getting some frame losses and other things, and then someone even watched the recording of it, and he said that he noticed it as well, like usually when I was placing blueprints. So I was using AV1 at like 30,000 megabits per second, or 30 megabits per second, and this time I changed to H.265, and I've got it like 20 or 24,000 kilobits per second, or 24 megabits per second. Just I lowered it down because I don't know if that card can handle multi-streaming just crazy. So just, you know, let me know if the quality looks weird or you're getting problems. But good to hear that it seems to be working fine on YouTube today. And I can't wait to hear when Twitch adds 1440p, especially if they add AV1. It'd be fun to be able to stream 1440p to Twitch. I don't know how it's going to work. We'll have to see when they add it. They've talked about it in their, that TwitchCon? I heard of people talking about it. What was I going to do? Oh, yeah. I was going to try to see if I can show you. I don't have. Oh, I know what I could do. I can open this in the browser. Open link. And let me see. Wow, that's a big picture. Zoom out. Let me see if I can studio mode here. You might, I don't know what, you're probably going to see it before I do. Or browser scene. Wrong browser. Oh, good. It looks like stream has got the, okay. I just have to change which one it's capturing. There we go. Put that down. Come on, where'd it go? Oh, it's an Explorer. Oh, well, that works. Here we go. Here is what excited. Let me transition over. Oh, okay. It's not going to transition over. That's why. Let me just full screen projector. That. So that is what Excited sent me. You sent me a better design? That's open link. There we go. That's what he kind of sent me. And yeah, that's cool. That is kind of cool. It's kind of, I'll have to give, I'm going to have to put a massive props to Excited. If I'm actually able to build, like, yeah, this is kind of a combination of something I was thinking, because another one of my builds, I was thinking about something that had more sleek on it, but the mushroom things, yeah, that'd be interesting. We could do some curves on it. Might need to be affiliate to use it. Yeah. Oh. Just flash of wallpaper. Oh. Yeah, it's because, it's fine. Let's switch back here. Transition back. Oh, there we go. I gotta make sure. I don't know which. There we go. Flash of wallpaper. Because when I do it, I have an output. My video card has a line out to a capture card on the second PC. And what I do is I tell OBS to basically full screen project a preview of something over to that screen, and that screen is being read in on the streaming PC, and it's like I don't see it on the main PC because it's an invisible monitor because I don't output it anywhere. I don't use the output to another monitor, so all I can do is see it on OBS in the other PC. So sometimes it does weird because I tell OBS, hey, project this over to that screen, and sometimes it projects just that scene and not like the whole window. So when I switch scenes, it doesn't send anything. It continues to use the old one. So sometimes I haven't mastered it yet. One day I will. One day I will be a pro. Is it easier to chat there, Ed? Yeah, it seems like everyone's chatting on YouTube today. You were the only one on Twitch chatting. But, what can I do? Some days it seems like Twitch is what everyone's watching. Maybe it was last time because YouTube was stuttery. All right. Back to what we were doing. I do like that. It's a good thing I haven't built super high up. I haven't built the stuff up there. And that would work in a sense. Because TurboFuel is a lot easier, because most of the work, if we do all of the fuel here, the lower floors before we did that curve halfway up, obviously we need the heavy oil residue refineries and then the diluted fuel, and we need the packagers. So we need a little bit more room for the diluted fuel setup. You said YouTube is having very small stutters every once in a while. No clues why. I gotta admit, I don't know why. Because I have plenty of bandwidth when it comes to internet. That shouldn't be an issue. I've tested that many times. I shouldn't be getting any frame loss due to that. But I switched. Last time I thought maybe it was the encoder because I was using AV1. I got a 4070 Super in there. It's not like it should be plenty powerful by itself. It's not rendering anything to just encode. And like it does AV1. It's got one encoder. I would think it could handle AV1 and a 6 kilobit or 6,000 or 6 megabit stream to Twitch. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's up with YouTube. Maybe the transcoding. I lowered it. I was hoping lowering it because I know Twitch, you guys, I don't know if you guys are getting advertisements on Twitch. I'm not affiliate, so I don't know if you actually get advertisements on Twitch. If you're not getting advertisements on Twitch, great, because I'm not an affiliate, so they don't need to. Although I'm using their system, so I guess they want to make money somehow. But yeah, so if we do the 5 levels, we need 54 technically refineries for the diluted fuel and probably less than that for heavy oil residue unless we underclock. So if I got 10 per floor, I could overclock a couple or something like that if I need to. But we need like 50 something for that. And then we need like the same number for TurboFuel, like 54. It's like 53 and a third. But they only require assemblers. They don't need the package unpackaged thing. So the top floors we actually could make smaller, or we could shrink this down. If we make a big mushroomy design like that. No, so that's like 10 heavy oil residue. If I do everything on one floor, because I could change this. That's why I said I've got to figure this out today. That way I could just burn through this and we can do some work on it this week. It's like I can figure this out. We can just get going. The way I originally kind of put was like I put 10 heavy oil residue. That way it's kind of like 1-to-1. I could underclock if I did that this way. That's why I didn't do anything else. I just kind of played them down for kind of templating to see where it was. So if I did heavy oil residue on the same floor as a diluted fuel, they output 40 per minute. So technically, they like a single row over there would only need 300. So you could underclock this to do 30 per minute, and that would take 225 oil per floor. I have to find my picture. My original one, because I think what you did is good. I don't mind doing that. I think it'd be interesting because I could do curves. I know how to do curves. We could do that. And if we make it that big, the floors are going to be huge. Like if I do the curves, like what you showed, obviously the floor has to be, it's like 8 foundations tall. Like I could switch here. So it's going to be 8. So it's what, 8 times 4? 32. So it's 32 meters high, I guess, per floor because you got to fit those in. So if I did your mushroomy thing, which I'm cool with, it'd be interesting design, I think. If I could actually make it look good, that's the question. Like before, I had something. If I could find it, because I restarted my computer before stream, just to be clear. Was this it? Oh, here we go. Let me go back to OBS. Change what this thing is. Chrome. I think this is it. Okay. So transition. I think I had, like, this is an image that I found, and I was like, oh, this is cool. In the middle of kind of a blue thing. That was originally what I was, one of the things I was thinking. I tried so many times on my own. You like that? Because that was what I was originally like thinking. Because that I thought, where is it at? I thought I'd do the TurboFuel do the fuel in the middle and then do these kind of outside things where the fuel generators. And then I'd like the purple lights, but I was like, yeah, it's this blue desert. I was like, purple lights, blue foggy. I was like, this sounds like Blue Crater. I was like, But you're right. I could probably mix in a couple of your mushroom things on it. It'd be kind of fun. So that was one of the things I was thinking at, and that's why I kind of built this. So I was like, I built this big rectangle just to start, and down the center would be fun just to have the view on the inside. That way it gives something, because most of the design is going to be on the outside, because most of the time we're going to look at this from the outside. once we're done, it's like, it's rarely going to be inside, you know? Have the building be blue, purple, and the lights orange, yellow. Hexagon stamp of some, yeah. So that's kind of what I was looking at. Yeah, the colors I hadn't really done. I was like, I liked that the purple lights and stuff like that'd be interesting, and the would make the building blue and purple. Yeah, we could do that. I'm not really, I gotta admit, I do not have an artist background, so when it comes to color coordination, I'm not that good at. I remember sending my kids to art school, like US Arts, and they learned pretty good. They could do some cool stuff. And I kept telling my wife, I'm like, I want to go. They're like, there are a bunch of kindergartens and third graders. I'm like, that's fine. I'll learn how to do color coordination. But yeah, I saw that image. I was like, I like that. I think there was another one somewhere that I liked, but it was a bit more Halo-y style. It was kind of a mix. It was a little bit more of the angle that goes up, and it had a bit of angles, and had some of the angles decorating on the side. Yeah, basic color theory. I gotta admit, I'm not that good at. I haven't got the formal train. I gotta find it. Like I with ADHD, I was like, going to a class is far easier for me than trying to learn color from a book. Like I can do programming from a book all day, but like for some reason, I tried drawing a book, and I was doing okay, but I was like, I just didn't stick with it. So, but amazing. My kids, when they were like first grade, they were drawing amazing stuff, way better than I could. I was like they learned pretty well. I'm like, I want to go to this place. And they accept adults, but like the classes have like kindergartners, first grade and second grade. Well, they have higher grades too. But like the classes they have, but yeah, it's mostly all kids. Like you don't see any adults doing it. But I was like, I want to go learn. And like if they could learn, I could learn. I don't need my picture on the wall, but they did some amazing stuff. Like they were there for a few years, and they were doing. For me, it was like, I thought it was amazing. It was way better than anything I could ever do. I used to just draw little Starship Enterprises on paper when I was a kid. Just like, that's what I would do, and just shoot laser. That was my drawing skills. Okay. I think at the very least we'd agree, if I did even Excited's idea or my idea or a mix of the two, the base of it is still pretty blocky. We'll figure the top part out. So I think we can do the diluted fuel in the base because it needs the most work. It needs the 2 packagers for every diluted fuel. So we need 2 packagers, and we could cut down the amount of heavy oil residue. Unless I make the floors bigger, I can't fit all of these on one floor. I mean, because if I tried doing that before, it'd get really cramped. Let's just do an example here. 2 refineries. And then you wouldn't really have much room for 2 packagers. So unless I made this bigger, which I thought having more spacious floors, it would get super cramped. And I really, really want this hole in the middle. I mean, I could shrink it a little bit. I could add another foundation, and I could shrink a little. I could shrink it. I could add more walkways here, but I think it'd be fun inside to be able to look down, because I want some stuff going back and forth. But I don't want to make it like so complicated to where we have to, because I don't like setting up giant. I mean, we could set up a giant package fuel line. We could do that, you know, packaging it, sending it over to a bunch of machines, come back. But I've done that. I've seen other YouTubers do that. There's always problems. Like if you do something wrong, it's going to back up somewhere, and that causes a huge problem. So I like little mini closed loops. It's much more simple, less problems for backing up. Although I gotta admit, problems are content. It's great if you see. I know Kibitz or whatever. Every time he has a nuclear disaster, he makes a whole episode, and people love it. So sometimes disasters are content. But I like to help people do it a different way. Oh, that'd be fun. Maybe another factory we'll do something crazy. I want to get this one done and move on to more projects. So let's start here on the bottom floor. I have enough room here. We'll have to get rid of that pipe eventually to do all the water extractors, because I think we need 26 or so. 26, 27 water extractors. What is it? 3,200 divided by 120? 27. I keep seeing people randomly show up on either chat. Now I have plenty of room here. These floors are about 8 foundations. For the main floors here, about 8 foundations wide. I obviously could shrink it, and or I could make it 9 if I really needed more room. Hello, Ohio Farmer. How you doing? Is the music too loud, by the way? I don't know what you guys are hearing. It shouldn't be. You should be able to hear me over it, but I don't know if the... I think I normally have it a little lower, but... The game's turned up. We're good. Do I have the game up, or did I turn the audio down? I did. Might have to adjust the game sound a little bit. You don't hear music at all? Should be going out to the stream. Yeah, I see it on the stream mix, but it's pretty quiet. It's kind of background. I can turn it up if you guys... Yeah, the thing, I think I have it set... You deaf? Yeah, you can hear me. All right. If we do heavy oil residue on one side, I do like Excited's idea. We can find a way to make in. You're right. I do want to see if we can incorporate at least some sort of mushrooming somewhere in the build. That'd be interesting. We'll have to see. Oh, you live? Well, hello. Hello, CPU. Please no, music is distracting. All right, I'll keep it down. I try to keep it quiet. It's kind of there just to fill gaps. Some people just like listening to it. But I try to keep it low. And in the way. Sometimes I like jamming, though. I like something upbeat. Right now, it's kind of mild. All right. All right, let's stop running around. Try to at least figure out a floor. Live. Oh, live, not live. Oh, that's true. I did put the announcement. Oh, my God, I'm live. Oh, now you're being thus that you live. I am live. That's true. English is hard, and it's my first language. Game sounds at a reasonable level. Okay, nice to hear the game, but I normally keep the music way, way down. Yeah, so that's one thing I like. I've looked up how to do audio levels for streaming, and I'm like, my voice needs to be, you know, in that 15, obviously peaking maybe up to the -5, but, you know, in that 15 to 10 kind of range. Game sounds using that 25 to 35. That's usually what I do for my videos, too. And then music should be like 45 to 35 somewhere. So it's like below it. So you can hear everything in tiers. So I try to keep it low because I don't want it distracting. All right. Now that we've covered the basic idea several times, let's try to... What was that? Did you see that up in the top right, top left corner? Look at that. That foundation is glitching. That's kind of weird. Are you even Satisfactory? You don't have boombox going full time. I gotta admit, I haven't even picked up a boombox yet. I don't even think it should be Z fighting because that's just a plain floor. That's just... We could delete that foundation. Yeah, there's nothing there. Delete a couple foundations. There shouldn't be any doubling up. I didn't do any like... Yeah, this should... That one's just weird. It's probably the... Maybe it's the machine or something and interacting with the Z fighting in the very corner of the screen. But you're right, the Z fighting has been pretty good. I was doing the roads, and I have not... I've got, like... You can see Guide World 3 I've been working on... Yes, it has... This one has advanced game settings on it, because obviously I'm cheating and just to make roads. But... It was pretty good. Just when because I was rebuilding all of the road blueprints from scratch, and for the most part, the Z fighting's pretty good. You know, some of the patterns glitch a little bit, and I try to fix them in the blueprint. But overall, I mean, it's pretty good. As asphalt's always been good with glue, but the patterns I gotta admit have not been nearly as bad. Okay, I keep saying let's get started. Let's try to figure something out here because I know how to do this. I could do so many different things. If I don't, I did not give myself... I noticed the problem. One problem, though. I did not give myself any room for pancake floors here at all. Which is okay. Because, you know, we still have plenty of room vertically. The only thing vertically that's in the way is these, pipe stacks. So there's plenty of room that we could still go under the floor and we could see it if you want, or we could do stuff mid-room. There's plenty of room to do stuff. Whose fault is asphalt? Oh, old man. So I have been working really hard to make sure they're as easy as possible. Here, I'll take you guys in for a quick preview. Just really quick, then we'll jump back. Let me just save this. I'll take you a quick preview because I have been trying to make the roads as easy as possible to use. And I've started with all Mark III blueprints, but for people who don't want Mark III, like early game, I'll resize them into Mark I and Mark II. But come on, flight mode, turn on. It's kind of slow with. I miss mods. I like the pack utility mod for this stuff better. The flight mode is much faster. So you can see I've got like pretty much all of the 3-piece done. I've done a couple different things. Like I haven't quite figured out some things or the way I want to do it, because I have two ways to do, because ramps are, I think, easier now. This is an example road. Get rid of you. So come on, dismantle mode, blueprint. Is that not a blueprint? Did I build this by hand? This should be a blueprint. Well, we'll just quickly do it. It's not organized that well yet. And might ignore the naming because I'll probably change the naming of the blueprints. But the nice thing I did figure out, though, is that you can if you have them in a subcategory, you can now have them in their own wheel, and you can now, switch between them. And I was like, oh, that's pretty great. When it comes to categorizing them, I was like, oh, that's going to be great for the roads. Yeah, ramps, I have worked on it. Ramps are so much easier, I think, now with the new ramps. Like, it kind of works with the old ramps, with the snapping, but the new ramps, I've made them so much easier to use. But I do like this, so I think that's great for organization. Obviously, I can't give you... I think the organization is tied to your save, so when I give people the blueprints... just hold E. Just hold E. So, and then you can use the wheel. And then find it. These are resorting themselves every time. I keep putting them... These are on the... I keep putting the dark blue for the 2-lane road on the right. It keeps resorting them, so I don't know how to fix that. That's just the game. But if we put straight road down... The ramps... I have them all undefined because I've been playing with them. And I even added the tall ramps. Just ignore the naming, but I added a couple different variations. But let's just go with the... I was using double ramp naming conventions when I did this, instead of single ramp, which is what I should have done, which is why this 4 meter is kind of wrong. But I think they're easier now. Obviously, you can use default mode. In this, for the base, if you're going up, you can use blueprint or default mode, but I just stick to default mode. But it comes to the mid, I was working on 2 versions. Like, you could do this kind of mid, which I think snaps on just fine when going up. Oopsie. Which I think makes ramps easy. And then the top piece, with default mode, snaps nicely. And then you could easily just do the pillars like this, which I thought were great. Now, the other way I could do ramps, and I was deciding with myself how I want to do this, so I might just include both of them. Yeah, going down. I'll show you that, too. I figured out how to do that. At least I figured out a way that I think, with these blueprints, is easier. But I did add this sort of... Sorry, let's do the base again. Ed's like, roads? I don't need roads. Well, I know some people like them. I still get... You delete these. I was like, well, I could add it with sidewalls. It doesn't snap as well, so you have to, like, nudge it into place, but it would build the sidewalls for you. I kind of like the other one better because I don't have to do nudging. But it's also, like, more... It takes, like, 3 pillars to do it. Yeah, exactly. That's what Ed sent me when I said I was working on roads, and he immediately responded to me on Discord. He's like, roads? We don't need roads. Just total Ed for you. Ramp top. Let's snap that on. But you're right. Going down, is a pita. And I was like, how can I? Because you're right, it's not easy. Even now, it doesn't work out perfectly. That's why I hate the flight mode, because you touch the ground and you fall. Because you're right. Let's take that. Let's just stick one on for the heck of it. So we don't have blueprint working. Because otherwise we could snap the top to that. And, you know, you can attach these. And going down, I think for the new ones, at least this probably works with the old ones too. But this is the idea that I was going to probably demonstrate when I do the video. Because you need to do the ramp top. And I'm like, well, this is a pain. You're right. It doesn't snap. Blueprint mode doesn't snap because of the height issue. It doesn't snap. Yeah, I was hoping default mode would. And I agree. It's a pain. And so I wanted to minimize the trouble. And I realized the easiest thing, and the only time you have to do this is here. And you could just do ones or whatever. Just create a bunch. Doesn't matter. And then the top will snap, which I think is good. Or you could do it by hand. And then I think the best thing to do here is just grab a middle piece and then go down as far as you want, however you want it, and then quickly, you know, add on this, and then maybe add a straight piece or whatever, attach it on. If you're going to turn or whatever, it doesn't matter. Just add a straight piece. And then from there, it's pretty easy to just attach the base as normal. And then do the mid up. It's easier to do it from this way, because this is the way most people do it, because they don't have a hover pack. So you just run it back up, and I think this is the easiest way. And somehow I'm out of alignment, but am I out of my alignment? No, I'm not. Well, I was, but that's because I wasn't paying attention downstairs when I snapped that on. But you can see doing it that way, I think, is probably the easiest way to do it. So going up is easy. Yeah, going up is easy. Going down is a pain. But yeah, if you can get it started by doing that, or, you know, you don't have to do the blueprint at all. You just snap out one piece and then do a ramp down to where you want to go, then go back up. And I think that makes it the easiest way, because you're right, going down, it just doesn't work. And don't misalign your base so you don't get out of alignment going back up. I just was doing it quick. So I think that makes it super easy to go up and down. And I got some new ways to do turns too. So we'll get back to that. But what if there's curves involved? Well, as I say, if you're going to do... Because curves at the top, not a problem. Curves at the bottom, not a problem. Let's just say I said do a flat piece at the bottom just to kind of get you easy to connect to. Then you could go delete the flat piece and then start your curve. And I've got like new curves, which are like this. No. What is it? I tried doing something like this, but it doesn't work very well. The tricks I had to pull don't work. But you could do something like this once you get it in. I've had bigger pieces, and the nice thing is you can just hold them in. They're pre-rotated, and you could just pull them into place. Gotta delete one of those, and so you can do curves like that now. So you want to do a curve in the middle? Well, this is just anything in the middle of the turn. Yeah, I haven't played with it yet, but the new big ones, I'm gonna see if I can do curved ramps. I'm gonna try. I tried before with the Mark 1 blueprint a long time ago, and I couldn't just get it. I just couldn't get it in the blueprint machine. It's very painful, and it may not be possible, at least easily, doing it. It's just trying to get it with the sidewalls into the... Because doing the curved ramp in the thing was doable, but doing the sidewalls was an absolute nightmare inside the blueprint designer. And that was the reason why I never included curved ramps in the original blueprint set. Because I didn't want to ask people to do it, because it's doing the curved ramp sidewalls is a huge pita. Yeah, so the Better Ramps video is like, he made... I did the original roads video, was like, you can't do... Or I was on a live stream, I think. You can't... And I said, you can't do curved ramps. And MGS Genesis was there, and he was like, ah. And he came back and said, I figured out a way to do it. And then he came back with that video. And so... And then I had Jano come back and help me solve the pillar problem. And so I made the Better Ramps video, which not as many people saw. And I literally figured out how to do the pillar sidewalls for his curved ramps, and it's a pain. I did it in the video. I demonstrated in the video, but yeah, it was a huge pita. And me and Hellraiser did that one video where he did the motor factor in the middle, and I made the big circle, and then we did the one curved ramp. I remember someone saying in the comment, like, he said you can't do curved ramps, and then you did one. But yeah, it's a pain. It's a pain to do the sidewalls. It's so weirdness. And I wish we could do nudging with pillars, because I was thinking I could do a new roads video with nudging, and I was like, oh great, we could attach this instead of having to do all that fancy stuff. You could just hold the pillar, but it won't let you nudge. Like you could hold the pillar, but you see, building cannot be nudged. I'm like, if they would just let us nudge it by 4 meters, it would be perfect, because then you could do all of my sidewall work by hand without having to do the fancy little stuff. It works with the merging the foundations, but just not with pillars. It's just yeah, it's if we could just nudge pillars, doing the roads by hand, because even with the blueprints, if you want to do something super fancy, the blueprints don't cover everything. Like if you want to do like a Y split or something like that, or some sort of very customized thing, it's kind of good to know how to do the original technique, because you could go fix it. That way you could do it by hand, that little piece, fix the pillars by hand, and be like, yay, I have something fancy. So that's why it's good to know, but it's too bad nudging doesn't work. Yeah, it's like, that's why I showed that's why I did the blueprints, because the original video, I thought it's easy to do, it's just time consuming. All right, now that we've turned off everybody that hates roads, we're gonna switch back topics and try to get this thing done. Yeah, the advanced method is the one where you're going for the most part. I do like the new blueprint designers. I did try to do a pre-turned 90-degree turn using the catwalks. The problem is it just doesn't fit. I could get 80 degrees of that catwalk turn fit into one blueprint, but the 90-degree turn just... You learned about half nudge a few days. You could do a half nudge? You have to show me how to do that, Ed. But yeah, I couldn't get the 90-degree turn. I figured out how to like move the, and that's mainly because the pillars, when you put it in as a blueprint, you try to create it, the pillars won't go to the edge, and then half nudge is control. Really? Hold. So there's normal nudge, control. Oh my goodness! You are right. You can half. That is so cool. I did not know that. I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but that's pretty cool. I could see you using that for walls for interesting things. Like hold, and then you could create multiple walls. Or like that. Yeah, I can see how it'd be beneficial for walls. That's the first thing I would think of. But I actually know of another thing. When me and Ed were doing the desert playthrough, and he was doing belts and getting stuff done, and I spent like forever working on a pillar. And I spent forever working on it because I remember I was doing something like this, where I had it in a corner, and I wanted another inside it, but I wanted it nudged half a foundation over, and you couldn't do that. But you're right. Now with nudge, you could control click it out. That I spent so long getting them to do this in a blueprint. You remember that, Ed? Remember how long I spent trying to build the pillar to do that? I like had to use power poles and various other tactics, and eventually I got it. And that way we had another one on the inside that was like asphalt. It was here. Like, come on, snap properly. Yeah, I think we had asphalt on the inside. Look at that. Look how easy that was. My goodness, I spent like an hour or so doing that. Trying to figure out how to get that done. Oh my goodness. This is terrible to work with once you build it, but it was cool then. Because it's just weird on the fountain. Because you can't, but now you could, That was the thing I always had. I built this thing, and the problem is snapping it was always a pain because it was half a foundation, so it always snapped to a meter. Now you can nudge it to... I'm going to have to pull this blueprint back out and make a new one. That is cool. We can do cool stuff now. Old question. If BP is made in Tier 3 Designer, it can be used in a save file that only has Tier 1 unlocked. Yes, you can. Now, I know some people like to be very, very legit with their blueprints. So with the roads, what I plan to do is I'll have 3 versions of it. So I'm making it all in Mark 3, and I'll take everything that can fit, and I'll just place it in a Mark 2 and save it. And I'll do the same thing with a Mark 1, and I'll just make 3 sets. Most people are going to just grab the Mark 3 set. But at least if that way, if someone's like, I only have Mark 1, and I only want to use Mark 1 so I can load it in the Mark 1, I'll have a downloadable set you can do, and then you can overwrite it later with Mark 2 or something. I'll do that. Just it's a little extra work, but I'll do it. And that way, at least for people that want to like be 100% legit, like I won't care because I'm like, they work, but because most of them would fit in a Mark 1. It's like the 6 foundation roads won't, you know, most of them would fit in a Mark 1. I'm just doing them all in Mark 3. Label clearly so I can get the big ones, please. Yeah, I will. I'll have the main one, like the full download one. I'll have like a Mark 2 set and a Mark 1. I'll literally put the file and I'll say Mark 2 or Mark 1 set. And it should have most pieces. The Mark 1 should have almost all of them. Old age and 2 strokes have made, yeah. I'll try to keep it very clear. I'll probably put the main one in one post, and I'll try this time, at least for the main ones, the Mark 3s. I'll try this time to go upload them to the calculator site with all the blueprints. Because I know they have a whole blueprint thing, but last time my ADHD, I hated it because I would uploading the files is not a problem, but you have to like go take a picture of it, and like I was taking a picture of the blueprint and a picture of the scene. I was taking a picture of the full road so people could get a glance at it. It was like I was taking 2 or 3 pictures per blueprint, and then I had to go back in game, load the other blueprint, take the pictures, upload the 3 pictures. Like, I had to keep fixing I had the icons already set, and then for some reason in their blueprint thing, I had to, like, fix their icon. And I'm like, I have so many blueprints to go through. I'll get to it later, and I just never did. So I'll try this time. I got ones from using your Discord. Yeah, that's where they've been. I just never... I started uploading them to the whole Satisfactory thing, because some people want it from there. They don't want to go download from Discord. No, I don't blame them, because downloading from Discord seems dangerous. So I mean, I honestly say I'll include in the video. I said if the post isn't from me, don't download it. But I'll try to have it on the calculator site for the people that want to. But you have to go download each one individually. So it's painful for you too. It's like I can't upload the whole zip to the calculator site. Unfortunately, they don't do that. At least I don't think they do. It'd be nice if they did. I haven't looked in a while. All right, now that we've had all of that discussion. We've been going for like an hour without getting anything done. We've had a lot of discussion. I guess we should try to figure this out. Did you look at your storage? I did, Ed. It was really cool. Ed created on my blueprints file. So Ed's also, if Ed posts one, he's pretty safe to. If Excited posts on my blueprint files, Discord, he's safe. Ed's safe. You know, they've been around for a long time. Ed posted a cool storage system blueprint. Nice filtering storage system. Looks nice, works nice, functional. Excited. He's posted a couple things for like pretty stuff, which I'll probably steal and use in here, like the computers and stuff, because there's just no way I'm going to do it as good as he does. So I'll probably steal some of his blueprints, but he's posted on my Discord. I think he's posted them elsewhere in Reddit and stuff. I love his stuff. He's so creative. All right. Heavy oil residue and diluted fuel. I got to figure out where to put the packagers. I could do this simply. This is high enough up that I think we could even, if I wanted to use the underside where the water extractors are, there's plenty of room down there for the water extractors. And we'll box them up because there's going to be like 27 to 28 to 30. Just depends on how I want to wire the piping. So there's plenty of room here to do the packagers here. And obviously, this blueprint is great, but it just... I had a lot of fun building it. It's a fun little blueprint. It'd be fun to box this up and just say one click. Here's a one-click diluted package field for you. I think it makes 60 per minute. So I could do that. Some people might want it. Box it up, make it pretty. I'm sure other people have made it. I think that's the second one I've done. I did one with Ed for the desert run through too, so I probably got that blueprint somewhere. Similar thing, but that was only in a Mark 1. Let's see here. Let's try to think this out. Obviously, I could do this same my old method, or I could move these back. I think it's right over here, the line. But I could send these back a little bit. And what I used to do, and I demonstrated this last week, is I could just put the 2 packagers in front somehow. Like this. And like this. Well, a little wider than that, probably. It depends. I kind of want to keep this walkable. I agree with you, Lizard. And if I had pushed to tier 7 and 8 before doing this, I would have gone with the blender. Now, efficiency-wise, they are exactly the same when it comes to resources. The blender is obviously better because it's less complicated, less machines, slightly less power. I think it uses not a lot less power, but it uses a little. The design would use a little bit less power, so you do save a little bit of power in the build too. But you're right, it does simplify the build, and they're obviously, but they're a little bigger in their own design, so you have to. Your design's a little different as well. So they have their own pros and cons, but they are nice because you're right. It's 1 building instead of 3. And you might need less of them overall. So it's less buildings overall. So I do like that, but since I'm here, what can I do? But I've always liked this, this design. I think I rotated that by accident. The nice thing is, so you have, obviously I can make these floors a little bigger. I wanted to make sure they're walkable, but we have all this space here. And we can always put catwalks over any pipes or anything. But a nice design I like, and I mentioned this last week, is where I'd have a... Come on. Can you line up? Can you just line up for me? Here we go. Anywhere in there. And you have to deal... This one only outputs 1, so you just got to deal with the belt going to that. That's like to unpackage the fuel. And then you just got to give like a full foundation width here. And you could send the empty containers straight into this. Well, if they're rotated wrong, whatever. But you would send the output straight into this and the water straight into here, and then you'd send the water back underneath or overhead back into here. And you create these little mini loops, and it kind of makes it more simple, in my opinion, than making huge beltways where you have containers going one way, packaged water going the other. Which you can do. It absolutely works, and it looks cool. Looks great when you finish the factory. Yeah, I know it's backwards. I was just talking. But yeah. Something like that, but you just got to fit two lines in there. This makes this a little cramped, and obviously we have room. We could go vertical. It's quite doable. You could have the, since it's just an item that comes out of here, packaged. It's package fuel that comes out of it. You could send it. I could send it up if I wanted to make these rooms somewhat interesting. Or if we wanted to think of this in some sort of decorative sense, it's getting a little cramped there. But if the walkways came around the edge, then you could think about having the packagers. Like it gets a little closer, but you could go vertical. Yeah. I think. But you could have the other packager kind of sitting on top and another thing. Or, as Excited says, this is why I like doing it by hand. It's more fun. You get to be creative with every floor instead of just doing a blueprint. Although, if you come up with a decent blueprint, it's easy. If you can come up... What's your question, Excited? Middle one's still back. I did it again. Sorry, Critical. Could the packager be on top of them? Let's find out. Because I already did all these floors. I don't want to have to redo them again. I didn't leave myself any room for pancake floors, so we have to deal with what I did. So something... I think they could fit in the middle. I think one packager could fit on top. I think we could, but we'll have to see here. Let's set up... let's get up there. And let's find out. I know where you're going. Excited, I think, a little bit. Pancake floor, sandwich floor, some people call them. that doesn't work. It's gonna be tight. Just the way I like it. That's just doing this replacement. So like, if I did this, this would be not a bad idea for a blueprint. Just something that sandwich floors are basically like, if you have your floor, your factory sitting on, a sandwich floor is like something under it or above it. So it's an extra set of floors where you have a little space, and you would basically use the belt hole, the floor holes and stuff, and you bring your belts and pipes into the sandwich floor, and you'd run your stuff in the sandwich floor so you can kind of hide it away. Some people will cross the streams doing that. Some people will keep it nice and organized still on the sandwich floor, but it's a way to like hide your belts and pipes and stuff from the main part of the factory. Yeah, space between floors for running belts hidden out of sight. That's what a sandwich floor is, basically. Yeah, logistics floor, something like that. It was just basically, yeah, like here, like if I had another floor here, and I would... You can make it as big as you want, but it's like this. So, like, just imagine this being a whole floor. This one's a very compact one. Obviously, the more belts you have, the more room you need. So, logistics floor... Yeah, I think the original term, the person that I first saw do this was that, it wasn't Flux, it was, Cretan or something? I'm not sure if it was him. He used to make the single builds a long time ago, and he always had those sandwich floors. He called them a sandwich floor. At some point, I started calling them pancake floors. I don't know why. I mean, I think the name fixed. It's back. Oh, I was just playing around. It's backwards. All right. Either way, so let's see if this fits. It clicks. Darn it. I mean, I guess we could lower it down a meter. I think it could fit if we lowered it down a meter, maybe. Or 2. Oh, 2 meters will clip through that, which I guess is okay. Clipping a little bit might work if we can make it work. Well, we need the entry and exit clear, so this is kind of the spot where it's clear, so we'll have to move it over. Let's just see. Could we make this look good? Oh, no, you can't clip the 2 machines, so we're going to have to... maybe it'll let me do this. Very, very tight. So we could maybe fit a package. One packager up here. I think it would have to be backwards. And then you'd have to have some kind of lift. Clip a little bit. Because the input, if you're just doing unpackaging, you wouldn't need to worry about the input. The problem is the output you'd have to worry about. And that becomes... Like, even if I took away the floors... Pretend for a second. That becomes a problem. We're clipping that. It's... Yeah. Yeah, when I was network engineer many years ago, we always called them logistics floors when we ran all the cables. All right, logistics floor. That's a fair name to call it. I think it was just popularized by, I don't remember if it was Cretan or someone. I'd have to, once I saw his name, I'd recognize it. But he popularized it as sandwich floors. Maybe it wasn't all electricity. I think at some point, as I said, I called it pancake floors. Logistics floor is absolutely valid as well. Spin it 90 degrees. Run the stuff up the side. Questionable. I think I deleted a refinery. That's okay. It's just very tight. These refineries are very tight in here. I don't think I could spin this. I could spin it, but I'm not here just for compactness. I want to make it look good. And I think if I did, I mean, I could do this, but the problem is, it's not really a problem. Let's just remove this for a second. Because I guess you could, if you output it from here. I'm gonna need more packaged fuel in a second. If it could hit the same level, let's pretend that's it. Switch back to this mode. We do straight mode. Oh, it is straight. Straight mode just doesn't work. That's interesting to say the least. Now, the only problem here... Excuse me. Itching. The containers need to come out, and the fuel needs to come out. And obviously, you got to find a way to send that out somewhere. Obviously, you could send the fuel up. It's going to come out and have 10 meters of head lift. So, I mean, you could send it to the ceiling, and then the empty containers need to go somewhere. So, but the question I would have is, how do you make this look? I got to find a way to make that look useful. I got to do some fancy beam work or something. Does that not clip into the ceiling either? I don't think it does. It might clip a little bit. The question is, does it clip through the floor? Oh no! So that fits perfectly at that height. Straight mode is very... I agree with you, old man. Straight mode is wonky. Yeah, I get what you're saying, Excited. It's an interesting idea. It was an idea. You want to see if it fit. Because if it fit right, you're like, oh, perfect. But yeah, it's a little cramped. And I mean, if we used beams or something, might be able to come with something fancy. You could use some steel beams or black beams painted carbon black or something. Could probably come up with something. But I'd rather figure out the logistics first before I spent a bunch of... And the question is the logistics worth it? So it's kind of centered, and obviously I'd need another packager somewhere for taking it. It's got to package the water. This would have to move. Use 2D. There's also the carbon steel finish. On pipes, what does that look like? Or on beams? On painted beams. It's too bad we can't paint the other beams, because that'd be nice. Carbon steel. That's nice, too. Let's try his 2D. What's that? Background color? 2D. Huh. Almost identical. This one's got a bit more metal hue to it. This one's a little darker. So 2 options. Not the same, I agree. You're right. My color sense is a little off, but you're right. With the light on it, you can easier tell the difference when I turn the light off. That's definitely darker. No, the main color is that's the background color. Oh wait, I could check. You're right. I haven't done the custom colors in a while. I haven't played with it because I haven't done much in this build when it came to colors. 2D. Let's try it both. Double check. Make sure I did it right. You're right. It's the main color. My bad. There we go. Little closer. Okay, I did it. There we go. Little closer. That's Excited's recommendation for going black. 2D. If I was going to commit to this, it needs to be a blue. I would agree with you, Excited. This is a case where I'd be fine doing a blueprint. If for some reason I went this route and we figured out beams or some way to make it look good, you're right. This would be a case where I would agree. A blueprint would be very useful because it becomes, when I say it's like tedious to do, then it becomes a good blueprint. But otherwise, like the large factory work, I do love that. It's one of my favorite parts, figuring it out. Because I could just wire this together and call it a day. But you're right, I want to kind of make it look fancy, kind of come up with something. Because if I leave this open in the middle, which is kind of my current idea, just so I can look down, it would be fun to see some belts going back and forth or some catwalks. I could close it up, absolutely, and we'd have tons of room. Like enormous amounts of room. Yeah, I agree. The carbon steel has a bit more of a shine. I think it would depend on what you're doing. Because Excited said he uses that color for black, which I guess makes sense. It's the more artist, because Excited's an artist, so I can trust his judgment on that. And he does cool stuff, so. But I guess it would match more of the black on these versus the black. Can change the finish by using glossy instead of matte. Wait, what? There's a glossy and matte for colors? Really? I did not know that. Shiny. A default. What? This did not used to be here. Oh, it's because they added the chrome colors. So theirs it was shiny, but I don't think it makes much of a difference. Maybe it was already shiny. Oh, I see. Yeah, it was already the shiny one. Interesting. So default, I guess defaults to whatever it thinks for that item. Yeah, I agree. The shiny was very close to carbon. And I think it was using shiny by because it adds that bit of texture and a little bit of reflection, which was very close. Carbon steel. Carbon steel. It's probably just a specific color using the shiny reflection. Yeah. So these things unpainted. Coolio. I gotta play with so many options now. He wants you to put a beam connector on it? Oh. For Dillian, try a beam. Oh, okay. Do you like excited? Do you like the... Oh, it does. Look at that. Wish we had more daylight here. We need some sun. My floors are blocking the sun. Let's go somewhere there's some sun. Over here. We can get a better look. All right. Do you like the shiny or the unshiny there? Excited? Let's do that. That was the shiny. Let's do the matte. I'm guessing the shiny. Come from this side. Got a little sun. Not much sun, but a little bit. I like the shiny personally for the metal finish. I agree. The default is shiny, I think. I'm sure the matte has its uses. That's cool too. Yeah, I see what he meant. So he says the 2D matches the connectors. Which I agree. It does. It does have a much closer match to the connectors. So if we did that, let's figure out the logistics, see if this was actually worth doing. Because, I mean, yeah, we could have these and have them in a row and have a walkway and put some fancy stuff between them, or we could have something crazy going on. But if I wanted to spread them out, I'd have to make these floor biggers. Which would be fine, I guess. But I'm kind of cramped because I'd have to extend out. I could extend out a little bit this way and a little bit that way. And might give us a little bit of room. Default's in between matte and shiny. All right, let's test this. There you go. I'm so distracted. This whole stream is an ADHD session. What do you want to do? Everything. All right, we're going to try carbon steel. And we'll try that with matte. And then... Oh, I was going to do default. So we'll do default over here. We'll do shiny next to it. We don't need carbon steel. We'll do shiny next to it. And see if... that was shiny. That was the default, right? Just make sure. Maybe they are different. Oh, you're right. There is a clear, distinct difference. That's the default. That's shiny. That's matte. Huh. Interesting. Hard to see on black, but it is noticeable. The shiny clearly... This is not matte. It's got a little bit of sheen to it. This has clearly got more reflection than that one. Clearly. You can see the highlights much. And this one is, yeah, doesn't really have much in the way of reflection at all. Yeah. Okay. There is a distinct difference between the three. And that's matte. Hi, guys. I'm... Yeah, that's what matte is, yeah. Okay. Interesting. I'm gonna have to... This is like... Excited must be having so much fun with all these settings when it comes to color. Oh, yeah. Because I played around with... I think I was playing around with the colors. I was like trying to see if like the steel colors would give the wall... Because I remember trying stuff like this, and I'm like, it doesn't do much. It gives it a little sheen, but I'm like, I can't get that coated concrete. I deleted matte. But you're right, I want to see what shiny does. I guess we could try a brighter color. Something, not that. Something more in the middle. Just to see if we can get... it doesn't really make it shiny. I gotta spend more time playing with this. I mean, I like the, they need to add a flat wall, I agree. I've had these for so long. Like, these is cool, you can get a little shine out of them, but... shiny doesn't seem to do much for me. I did do shiny, right? Customizer, come on. X. Shiny. Yeah, shiny's not really... Matte looks good on concrete. All right, let's take a look. X. Matte. Let's go black. What the heck? Or let's... I wish the whole color thing worked on walls when you do like negative 8. You know, negative 8, whatever. It works well on foundations. Doesn't work on walls, unfortunately, because it'd be really cool if you could do this. This whole dark matte. That's what works with shiny, though. Not as good as concrete or coated concrete, but default. Okay. Distraction's enough. I'm gonna have to play with that. So many options. Look at my Discord. Where's my Discord? Ah. Exit. Where are you at? Screenshots. Textureless wall. Yes, we need that. So if anyone doesn't know, he's been excited. Been posted in my Discord. I don't know if he's been posting elsewhere, but he's been posting some of his own 2D concepts for some buildables for Satisfactory. I think he says he's going to make a video about it, so I look forward to seeing it. But he's basically just trying to make his own request. I think he's going to make his own request to the community to upvote some stuff. So he's got some good stuff. He's been making some concept art of his own. He's been posting. It looks pretty good. I can't wait. I will definitely, when he makes a QA thread, I will definitely upvote it. All right, let's get back to this. I don't know how I'm going to actually work this out because input, not a problem. Output, I could send pipes to the ceiling. That could work. But the output would have to go out and it has to go to another packager somewhere for water. And it would just come down. Like... spacing wise, I'm not sure, but it has to have enough. This won't work in this room. We'll have to push it back, but I would have to have enough room for a pipe to bring water in, which would be, you know, something like, you could do it real close. It's got to build this first, or put it in the right spot first. So as long as you have room for your pipe, which we don't right now. But the problem becomes the lift for these. I think that's why I always did them very flat, because this is in the way of doing a lift right out of it. But yes, you could do a belt over or something. But these things never want to come out of the thing very well. And then you get, it's just a whole mess. I've tried. Like, this works, but I don't know how to make this look good. Yeah, like, I think they said, I remember they came out, they said, this is our first time, like, doing the inputs vertically. Just let us know what you think. And I think, it has some uses. It's, depending on what you're doing, it works. Verticality, it's a real trouble. It's trouble with verticality. It's a problem. That said, going down's not so bad. Going up, or like if this went vertical, it's not so bad, because you can do something like this where you have, I've done this, and I did this, I think I did this over here, actually. We can just quickly show. Like, if you both go vertical, it's not so bad, because you can do something like this. That works. But then you're doing your horizontal in the sandwich floor, or the under the bottom. This doesn't have a sandwich floor. This doesn't have a logistics floor. It's just the ceiling on the bottom. But this is a way to deal with it, certainly, if you're doing that. And you can do that vertically as well, going up. I mean, so for this situation, putting one on top, I don't think works in this scenario, at least with this setup. I'm sure if I spent the next 3 hours playing with it, I'm sure this would be a super entertaining stream. We might be able to figure out something. The only option is, or the other option, it's like we could still go vertical. Like, there is room here for this stuff in a different way. Like, we could try it. Yeah. If you, M just showed a cool trick I was aware of this the other day. You can infinitely vertical. Yeah, it's true. I've known about that for a while. If you're connecting floor hole to floor hole, you're right. For some reason, the game doesn't care. A few people have shown it. It might have been Kibitz. It's been a while. I've known for a long time, so I don't remember where I originally found out about that. It's great when you're doing like a vertical bus, like if you have a cliff somewhere tall. I used to do it in the northern forest. You know that sulfur node that's really high up in the crater lake? I used to like, and I was like, if I grabbed the sulfur that used to be in the northern forest down below, I don't think it's there now anymore. I think they removed both of them or one. I don't remember. But I used to like bring that down that cliff. I would use a giant vertical like setup, and I would just do, you're right, floor hole to floor hole, and you could go all the way down. So yeah, if you have a big vertical lift to do it, it's great. I might do something like that, depending on what we do in the factory, if we want to do some of our logistics outside, because if we do like TurboFuel up top, I got to get sulfur and coal up there. We could have a couple pipes on the outside pumping up. We could have a couple lifts sending everything up. We could do a little bit on the outside, a little bit on the inside. We could do a little vertical trick doing that to have one nice long belt. That's certainly an option. With pipes, it negates the need for a pump. Wait, what? The floor hole trick works wonders. Works for pipes too. Wait. You're telling me you don't need head lift when you connect floor hole to floor hole on pipes? That can't be right. For gases, I understand, but... I haven't tried it with pipes. We'll try it real fast. Like right there. This should be long, right? I'm guessing it works with pipes, but I hadn't tried it. Yeah, it doesn't work. Can't go floor hole to floor hole with pipe. Right? Yeah, it won't let me. Too long. Clean Mark 1. Yeah, I can't do it. So it doesn't work. Yeah, I didn't think it worked with pipes, but it used to work like that pre 1.0. I hadn't tried it. I hadn't personally tried making long pipes like that. Maybe they I don't know why they want to fix it. I know there's like people on Snow was on, because there's like a duplication bug right now as well. I think there might be multiple, but someone was asking about it on the live stream, the dev live stream, and Snoop was like, I haven't really told the devs about it, so if you guys don't keep talking about it, they may not find out about it. Because he said he likes the way speedrunners do crazy stuff. He's like, they want to break the game, they want to do that, go ahead. He's like, I hope we don't fix it. So, I don't know. It's not like the devs try to fix everything. They leave some stuff in, because... Okay, I might just do my standard method, but I kind of want something. I know it's simple flooring. Because if I really wanted to, I could do all the packaging on another floor for all of them and send it all down. But that creates its own logistical nightmare. And more of like, it just scares me because if you don't do the right number of containers, it just backs up and you have problems. I always liked this one. Just packager. You can do packager at the end or 2 at the start. Oh, really? Yeah, I haven't. Update 7, I miss Update 7 Explorer so bad. I was so disappointed in Update 8. I mean, I loved everything else about it, but like the way they broke the Explorer. Because I know what happened. They moved from Unreal Engine 4 to 5, and they had a new physics engine, and they had to redo the vehicle physics engine. And I get it. That's kind of why the Explorer doesn't have all its drifting mechanics and stuff that it used to have, and it doesn't work anymore. But it's like, why does anyone need an e-brake that just causes the car to spin out? It's useless. It's like, bring it back. Bring back my drifting. I know it's pointless and unrealistic, but it was so much fun. All right. Heavy oil residue. How do I want to do this? Because I could also try to cram... How do I want to do the packaging? Yeah, I know. I missed my Explorer. I want my Explorer back. I am tempted to make a video because I saved off Update 7, so I could still pull up Update 7 and play it. I've been tempted to make a video where I show the difference between 7 and 1.0. I could show 8 too. Because the Explorer is better now than it was in 8. Update 8. But it's like, I want the drifting back. And I was like, and I'll do the same thing Excited's doing. Like, maybe it'd be fun to go create a thread and say, hey, if you agree with me, go post on this, add drifting back. And go upvote it. So we can tell the devs we want it. Use my powers as a creator, although I'm not a huge creator. Because I didn't post for like a year. And you might be like, where's your video now? It's like, yeah, I was doing a lot of roads this week and some other stuff. Play testing something, and I did not spend as much time as I needed to. I have 8 foundations a room, and I could make it bigger. I'm trying to figure out my limitations here. But I could do something where... What did I do that on? 3? Like, I could fit this in... And then we do that in the other 3. Maybe put it here. Rotate it around. Like, I could do this, and I could have, like, something in the middle. I could have a walkway in the middle. And then we have to do all the logistics somewhere else. I think it's a pain. I could just create myself more room. Drifting unrealistic, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift is... I just meant, like, I get it. The Explorer's drifting wasn't necessarily... It might not have been realistic, you know, the way you did it. You just hold the e-brake the whole time, and you steer with the front tire. It's some... You just got to steer with the front, and it had a lot of fun. You just got to control your speed and front steering with the front tire. So it had some accuracy to it, but it wasn't like, I know it's... But it's like, we're in a game where a giant building's come out of a thing you hold in your hand. So, I mean, realism be damned. I think, like, the way I know how to do it, it's like, I should just do it the way I like to do it. Like, I could do some packager here. Like, it won't create some fancy... I gotta, like, move this back, but I could do a packager there. And a packager here that unpackages it. This whole thing would have to move back. Could I fit the whole thing? Or... Look at, like, 1 PM Rockstar. Dune Desert plus Explorer and update. Yeah, I missed it. Yeah, also Update 7, the vehicles had what was called air control. And it was something I didn't realize until, like, Jace mentioned it. Hold on. Now I have to go ban someone on Twitch. Because Stream Elements does not do a good job of getting rid of these things. Ban. Pete and Grid. Grid? Here we go. There we go. Got rid of that. Sabri, I have my oil set up in there, and I'm considering making it a TurboFuel plant because of those 3 sulfur nodes. It'll be my first TurboFuel. Any tips? TurboFuel, though, it's not that bad. It's not that hard. It's a question of whether you use blenders or refineries. If you're using blenders to make fuel, turbo blend fuel, you'll need less sulfur, but you need more oil. And if you use refineries, you'll need more sulfur and coal for the compacted coal. I think on blenders, you need more oil because you use petroleum coke. That's why it needs more oil for the turbo blend fuel. But if you use refineries, you need coal as well. But you'll need a little bit more sulfur. There's not much way in the tips. It's just, you know, put it together in assemblers and make it simple. Because you just got to make compacted coal, and you feed that with your diluted fuel over to the TurboFuel. It's overall, once you have fuel and you're ready to go, TurboFuel is kind of easy to do. But you're right. It's logistically, usually the problem with TurboFuel was getting everything in one place. But you're right. If you're in the blue crater, like where everyone's doing it, I started here. All the other creators came here, and everyone else has come here because it's perfect, because it's got lots of coal. And you're right, you got sulfur nodes. They added those 3 sulfur nodes nearby. So logistics is super easy here for TurboFuel. Like, insanely easy. Just got to bring it in however you like. Bring it by truck. Make a road, bring it in by truck, bring it in by train, bring it in by belt. Just pick your poison. Bring it in by drone if you really wanted to. I was here first. That's right. I started in the blue crater. You're right. Blue crater's in the northern forest. Although it's... Yeah, I thought it was like a more challenging start, but they made a bunch of other places really hard. So Blue Crater isn't really that tough anymore. Like, it used to be like the Red Forest and the Swamp were scary, and now there's a whole bunch of other places that are scary. I haven't even been to the Swamp yet, so if they've made the Swamp worse, holy Shazbot. Actually, it's got quartz nearby. Quartz, it's really close, actually, in 2 places. It's like right here and like right up here somewhere or something. Yeah, there they are, right there. So sulfur is like right here, quartz is right there, and right there. So a little bit further away, but holy, it's, my goodness, when they added the 3 quartz node here and the 3 sulfur nodes right here, like, and wow, there's 3 more there. But yeah, like, they had it a whole bunch. And then you have bauxite that's not that far to the north. So you're right, quartz is about the farthest thing you have to go. So I don't think so. I think there's one, yeah, the quartz node, there's 1 pure, 1 normal, 1 impure. And I think up there, there's 1 pure and 1 normal or something. Up the ones up here, wherever they were, up here. But there's a lot of quartz nearby, like plenty in the blue crater. It's just a little bit further out, but it's easily got here. I had to grab some for the... I just have it belted over right now for the weapons factory. There's just 1 belt coming in. It's quartz. The same thing with the sulfur. There's 1 pure, one normal, and 1 impure. So you get what you just take what you can. I'm going to be using the pure and the normal for this factory. So I'm using as much as I can. Like, I'm using like 780, and I'm saving the impure for like the weapons factory, maybe some other little thing. At least that's the plan right now. I may regret the decision later, but there's always another. There's another sulfur node in the grasslands over here. It's like pure. So if I really needed even more sulfur, I could go grab this one. Way over here. And there's probably more I'm not even talking about. But yeah, that's the next closest one. So if I really needed more, I'd be okay. I don't think I'll need it more later. We'll have to, that's going to be like uranium and other stuff late game. So I don't think it'll be a problem if I do TurboFuel here using most of the sulfur. And we'd always upgrade it later with Mark III miners and get even more out of it. So there'll be more. Plenty. All right, I need to figure out how I want to do this. I need to figure this out. This one's got to do this stream. Is I got to figure this wiring part out, and then I can do the rest. Because the TurboFuel, as I said, is going to be easy. It's just a matter of getting it up. Wherever I do it, you just make compacted coal. Assemblers are much smaller. It's super easy. And there's all this space up top. So I think, as I said, there's another way I could do this. Let's move these back. These are all, I think I was doing, let's do it like right here. Give it some walk room. Another thing we could do, as I said before we put it on top of the thing, is we could find a way to go vertical in front of it. Unfortunately, I've got these things off center, so unless I want to make this wider, this is kind of how I have to do it, compact them together. How big do I have to make this? Let's put one packager down. Because I know how I can... It's always backwards. It doesn't matter. Just need to get it up high enough to where we can stack one on top of the other. That almost does it. That would clip that ever so slightly. And that's 3 foundations up, so we actually have a little bit of room. So I'm going to do one more. All right, we'll do that. We'll do a bunch of 1 meter foundations. Just for temporary. We might come up with something for pretty, but... So we could do this, so where we could have one packager down below. And I think I did this in the Mark 1 blueprint when I did this a while back. I did something like this. This doesn't need much room between the refinery and the machine, although if you want walkability or something, or a catwalk, you want to give a little bit of room. Come on, line up with me. Okay, so it's one, I think right here is... That's in line with it, sort of. Right? Yeah, that's... Belt-wise, not in line, but machine-wise, it's in line. And then, so... And this might turn around, actually. But it doesn't have to. But then this one you could do up here. Somehow. Some way. Let's just pretend for a second. This one would probably turn around. Yeah, that looks in line. Or something. And what you could do... is obviously, since it's packaged fuel, it's very easy to go up. You don't have to worry about head lift or anything like that. You could bring it up. We could also align this differently so the holes match up here, which would work. That would actually, it's not a terrible idea. Line up the holes. Where's that hole at? Right there? Okay. So like right there. Bring it up there and do the same thing up here. I think I should just do blueprint hold mode. There we go. Bring it over by one. This one probably needs to turn around. I did it wrong again. Rotate. Okay. Might have to change. But that way this could, in theory, and this doesn't have to be completely vertical. I could move that back if I decided to. I'm on the wrong tab. Because that could go straight into there like that. And if we brought it back far enough, it could just be right in front of it. Absolutely could do that. And then I don't know how I would actually like have it displayed, how I'd want to hold it up there. That's a whole nother thing to think about. But then, in theory, you could have... But you need water here. That's a problem. I don't like that, but, you know, that's the problem with the verticality, because this one needs water input. And then that would make packaged water, which then has to somehow go back to the backside of this. And overall, just a problem. So going vertical is doable, but you got to do these weird things. Unless... Unless you did it up here, too. But then, what are we doing all this space down here? Also, why bottled water and packaged fuel? So, the diluted packaged fuel recipe takes heavy oil residue and packaged water. That's why. So, when you do the blender makes this easier because you just take the water and the fuel directly. And I believe you have to pass containers to it, and that it skips this whole package unpackage process. Actually, don't even package. It's just like water and fuel, or heavy oil. It's heavy oil residue and water, and then that diluted fuel. It's just in the blender you get the diluted fuel alternate. Yeah, you just need to You just need to give it water and heavy oil residue, and it outputs fuel. So you don't have to worry about this whole process. With this one, you pass it the heavy oil residue and packaged water, and you get out packaged fuel. The blender version is the exact same numbers, except you just don't need to package and unpackage it. So it makes it more simple. You need less machines. But like efficiency wise, you're using the same amount of oil and the same amount of water. Yes. So if you use the standard recipe, Sabri, if you use the standard recipe, which is just fuel, I believe that takes 60 crude oil to make 40 fuel. And you get some polymer resin out of it. Obviously, you can use residual fuel to use heavy oil residue. It's the same thing. You can 60 heavy oil residue over to 40 fuel. So, same amount of crude or this. So those are the two default recipes. And so for doing diluted packaged fuel, which uses refineries, you're going to get two recipes. You need to get heavy oil recipe alternative, which allows you to make 40 heavy oil residue from 30 crude. And you're just making heavy oil residue and you get some polymer resin left over, which is better than what you get from like making plastic, where you get 10 heavy oil residue from 30 crude. So it allows you to make a lot of heavy oil residue for less crude. So you're getting more heavy oil residue per crude. And then with diluted packaged fuel, every 30 heavy oil residue allows you to make 2 fuel. So you're getting basically 2 fuel per 1 cubic meter of heavy oil residue. So it really like doubles or triples the amount of fuel you make. So you can take, I gotta bring up Satisfactory tools, but I think it's been a while since I did the numbers, but if I wanted to make fuel with regular oil, no, not here, let me switch Discord, or yeah, here we go, transition here. Just look at this real fast. Fuel. If I just wanted to make fuel, and let's say I was going to just use 300 crude. This is the standard recipe you would go with. Let's say if I did maximum amount. So with 300 crude, I could make 200 fuel through vanilla recipes. The standard just recipes you get from unlocks. I could make 200 fuel, which powers 20 or 10 fuel generators. So about 2,500 megawatts of power. But if I have the same amount of crude, 300, and we include the heavy oil residue recipe right here and diluted packaged fuel. As I say, you could, if you have the blender and you have the alternate diluted fuel, it's the same numbers. It's just you're skipping the package unpackage process. But if we're doing diluted packaged fuel, so it makes the number look a little bit more complicated. But you can see we can make 800 fuel. So we're getting 4 times the fuel. We're getting 4 times the fuel than from the basic recipes. So we can power, with the same 300 crude, we can now power 40 fuel generators. But it's a little bit more work through this diluted packaged fuel process, because you basically have to bring in water, you package the water, you send it in with the heavy oil residue to the refinery to make diluted packaged fuel, then you unpackage the fuel, send the fuel out, and you send the canisters back to repeat this process. Now, if you did diluted fuel when you had blenders, which you get in tier 7, which is easier, it's a little bit more simple, but it's the same thing. Still heavy oil residue, 300 crude, and you just send the water and the heavy oil residue straight to the blender. You need like 8 blenders, and that gives you your 800 fuel. So the exact same numbers, just more simple. But yeah, you get 4 times the fuel, and so it's a really good thing. And this is also this loop is also great when making the other recipes, recycled rubber and recycled plastic, because you use fuel and where is it, like recycled rubber? Where are you at? Recycle rubber and recycled plastic here. Where'd you go? You can see you would take rubber, like 6 rubber and 6 fuel, and you get 12 plastic out. So you can double your plastic. So you can start, that's where the whole recycled fuel. So if you get the heavy oil residue and diluted fuel or diluted packaged fuel recipe, and then you get recycled rubber and recycled plastic, you can like triple the output of what you could get for rubber or plastic. It's a complicated loop that confuses people. The math is, once you figure it out, the math is not too bad, but those recipes all just kind of work together. Obviously, if you got the blender, diluted fuel is king, just because it's easier. And that is your lesson for today. All right, I think I'm going to do this my standard way. I think it's just going to... Like, I could do the packaged fuel across and send it back. That'd be fun, too. Like, do all the packaging over here. I would send a bunch of belts across, which would be kind of cool. I'd need a few more containers in the loop. Like, if I did the packager for packaged water over here, I could send it across with the heavy oil residue in some regard. Just pretend. So it could be packaged over here. It could be sent straight across in some regard over to here. You would see a bunch. I don't think it would crowd looking down if I did that, though. Now, if you manifold it, which is the common way, So you group it all together, you loop it around, and you send it on down the line. That is certainly a doable thing, but you got to have the right amount of packages in your loop, because if you don't, you're gonna be short, and then you run slow because it doesn't have enough packages. And then if you put too many, the problem is you get to this race condition where you have packaged water coming out here, and if for some reason there's too many containers and it's doing it wrong, the packaged water will back up, and that backs this machine up, and then the canisters can't come in, and then you get a point where these can't output the canisters, and so you can't get the fuel, and everything dies, and it's a huge problem. So if you don't set it up just right, yeah, everything falls apart. It'll collapse. But if you keep it a 1-to-1, you can just put in a certain amount, and it's a little easier. That's why I like doing it. Let's see if we can fit it in. Let's just do it. I don't need to spend the next 200 hours on this factory. Let's just try it that way to start. If I line it up like this, we'll probably straighten this out, but I gotta think about walkability. Let's do a little bit more room. So I put him in the middle. So I have 4 on one side and 4 on the other. So we're gonna put him, we're gonna offset these, so that way you don't have to bend the belt. We could bend the belt, but this works too because either A, we can bring the pipe underneath, because we can manifold the heavy oil residue. That's not a problem. We could bring it underneath. This could come from underneath, so we could run it. We could run it, well, we run the heavy oil residue here, and then the containers can come from the front. So we'll package the water here. This could run straight in there. That doesn't line up, unfortunately, so that's okay. Just do it from, you know, do it from the floor. Be on the pipe one. There we go. So heavy oil residue could come from there, and we'll have to have, these will have to have, if we do it this way. This is why, this is, sometimes simple is better, but it's not always. Oh, line it up, Dan. Like, I'd have to know what scene I'm putting on. If I wanted to make a scene, like a walkway, if I had a hallway, then obviously I would adjust the way this looks to the hallway, to the scene, to where I'm walking. Where do I want to draw the viewer's attention if I was walking through the hallway? Then I would adjust it that way. And we could, you know, just like I did before, you could, using vertical mode, have the water come in, package the fuel, go straight into diluted packaged fuel, heavier oil residue comes in. This is the simplest way to do this loop. This is the most simple way to do the loop. Straight up. Diluted packaged fuel comes out physically. There's nothing output of here. So the diluted packaged fuel will go into this one. You would unpackage it. And so we would have one floor hole here. So we get the containers out. And if we did this, this container could literally go just like this. And if we go down below, which I don't have a floor, oh, we have a pipe. How nice is that? And really, a Mark 1 pipe, Mark 1 belt would work for this. This is kind of a big one. But you could just loop the empty canisters back underneath. And as long as we're feeding it heavy oil residue and water. Oh, wow, I'm out of... Give me packaged fuel. As I said, we could put maybe 1 stack of canisters in here. Maybe 1.5, just depends on how long the loop is. So this works as a single loop. It makes each one, as long as we got enough heavy oil residue coming in, and we have the water coming in each one, this turns this little diluted package, unpackaged loop into a tiny little loop. Not as, you know, instead of having it's nice. I wish it'd be nice to have a bunch of huge belts running back and forth with all the packages and canisters on it. It would look cool, because who doesn't like seeing a whole bunch of belts move stuff around? But this makes it simple, and you don't have, you're not going to run out of, you're not going to like back up unless you shove a ton of stacks of canisters in here. if you like, it won't back up because it's just one loop. It's less likely to have a problem where, unless you're not outputting. If you're not outputting the fuel and using the fuel, then yeah, the one will back up. But that's just a point of getting the fuel used, and then it'll continue. Yes, single loops, it makes it simple. It's not as pretty to look at, but it does simplify this particular thing very easily. It's kind of like having a blender where it's doing all of this in one little machine versus having these 3 machines, so. I don't think I have the room to have a whole bunch of belts. So I'd otherwise have to fit 2 refineries. I could make the floor a little bigger. I could do all the packaging and unpackaging over there or something. I could do that. And then have all the belts go back and forth. But this, I've always found this is the most simple way to do this. And then, like, you might be able to fit this on a blueprint. Otherwise, you fit it on 2 blueprints. I used to fit it on 2 blueprints. I think I would do, because you could do the same thing. You could do the packaging. You could output the fuel here. Instead of going below here, you would just do the other packager in front of it, as I said, and bring your water in at the same time. So you have fuel going out, water coming in, and then just send the diluted fuel underneath. So you could do either way. If you wanted to do a blueprint, like, that's an easy way to do it. Do one for the packagers and one for this and connect it together. Otherwise, you make a whole bunch of these, because we need to make like 54 of them. I think simple's good. I'd love to make the inside really pretty, but this works. In this case, we'd also need to output the fuel, which I don't know if we'd go under for this, but, you know, logistically, you could also output your fuel. You got to deal with it under the hood if you have enough room to do all the piping, the crossing of things, in theory. I guess I should figure that out, because if I want, otherwise you could go up, or you could have it, you know, also, if you wanted to do it here, it absolutely just run it along the line here. You can't do it? Kibbitz has multiple package belts, nightmare. Yeah, I know. I saw he had videos where he pointed out. That's where I'm like, I could do what he does. I've done a build like that before. And that's what I said. It looks cool. All that stuff moving around, big sides of belt, whole bunch of belts next together. The stuff just moving around the factory. It looks fantastic. I got to give it to that. So it is definitely for a look when you do it that way. But when you're like just you want it to work and you want to be less of a headache, this is the way to go. And I think in this case, I'm going to try going with this. Although, I got to admit, I wouldn't mind having some stuff come back and forth. But, you know what? We'll build walls, we'll build windows, and just have a nice look down the entire thing. You know, you can look all the way up. I don't know. We'll see. Can we blueprint? Unfortunately, this is on 6 foundations. Right? That's 6. I bet we could blueprint at least this piece, and then we just have to manually add these pieces, which gives us flexibility. Let's do that, because that'll simplify the build. That means that means the logistics we still have to do, but that means we can do this. We'll blueprint that, and then we still have to deal with the logistics and piping. I think that, because having to do this every time will get a little tedious. And we don't have to do it on every floor. If I want to do some floor custom for fun, we can always do that a little differently. Give me a blueprint machine. I think we have one back at the start. I only have I think I have enough for a Mark II. I don't have Mark III. I can't fit it in a Mark III. All right, we'll just go this. I can do it by hand. It's not a big deal. It's fun. Let's see if we got to fit it. I think the way I put it, that does fit. I have these off-centered. It does make walkability. Did I not line this up right? I did not. I put it there. All right, we're going to have to redo it, but that was an example. The nice thing about that, though, it minimizes pipes between the refinery, which means we could get these pretty close if we do it that way. Get rid of that belt. All right. So you could get it pretty tight. Chaos is a brand. It's like, I want to do it, but it's like, I can do that with, I'll do that. When I get to nuclear, I've never really built a big nuclear plant. I won't, I could figure out simplification loops, but I'm not going to. We're going to go big. And it's going to be an absolute disaster when I get there. But that's why I want to get there. So we need to hurry this up so we can move on and do some other big builds. And then we can do the design for this building. All right. Let's just do that. So let's find the spot. I think I centered it. So I think 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to center it. I think I started. I think the first one needs to be here. And then we'll delete all these. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whoopsie. 9. Whoopsie. I guess my inventory's full. Ugh. I don't need quartz. Oh, yeah. Shaz bought and run. That's the way. There we go. All right, let's do this. Because we still got a lot of logistics to figure out. If I spend all day on this, it will be painful. Like, if I did this build differently, if I did a huge platform, you're right, I could set 40, 50 refineries out and be like, all right, we're gonna figure out the belting. And I would do it that way then. I would have packagers somewhere else. But the way I've got it sent out with 10, I guess it's because I've kind of got this, I've done this kind of thing before. And I guess that it's kind of built on my style. That said, we do have one problem in the fact that we need, what is it, like 54? Because it's like 53 and a third. Message retracted. Oh. Didn't know what you said. When Dan goes nuclear run. Yeah, we've seen that. Yeah, I don't know. Nuclear is going to be, since I've never done a big nuclear build. And you can use Mark 1 for builds for this because everything's 60 per minute. Like, it's 60 packaged water per minute. Then it creates 60 packaged fuel per minute. I mean, you can certainly create fast belts, but it's always fun to, when the slow belts, at least you can kind of see it. It's kind of full, doesn't look backed up, so everything's, in theory, everything kind of keeps moving, which is nice. 360 steel pipes, industrial beams, 180 steel beams, or 120 steel beams, 480 steel pipes, 20 industrial beams. It depends on what you're going to do. I recommend, if there's alternate, for everything, for most recipes that need steel beams, there's an alternate that uses a pipe. Like encased industrial beams. If you get the alternate, which is encased industrial pipes, you get to use pipes, which uses less steel than beams. So if you have the alternate, if you want for steel, I recommend solid steel ingot and encased industrial pipe. Solid steel ingot gets you more steel, unless you've already got it, which is good. And encased industrial pipe lets you use pipes. And then you can use pipes. You can get other recipes where you can use pipes for rotors. Steel rotors are a good alternate. You can use pipes for stators, so you need lots of pipes for stators. And there's an alternate for stators, which uses quick wire and uses less steel. That's nice too. But otherwise, if you use just a regular stator recipe and steel rotor, then both of those just need pipes and wire, which is kind of nice, makes it simple. So I always like, when I'm doing my factories for steel, I usually go minimal on the beams. I like do enough just for my personal use, which is like 15 to 20 per minute, which I think is fine. And this time around, though, I did a few extra for Versatile Framework. So I did 45 beams this time. So I could keep 30 going to the Versatile Framework, just constantly making them. And they're sinking now, but it's like it gives me something so I have a supply built up. So I don't have to like yank up all my steel beams out of a container later. Because, you know, this is all temporary, of course. Wow, I already did all 10. Let's set the recipes. That's, this one's dilute, or packaged water. So just copy, paste, paste, paste. And the nice thing about this set, when we're ready to start it up, is that we can just we'll just go make a bunch of containers, and we'll just come drop in a stack of containers in each one of these. And that will have every loop. So 120 beams It depends on what you're going to do with it. Obviously, maybe you want to use beam for screws. I usually end up using recipes that avoid doing screws because there's alternate. For every recipe that needs screws, usually there's an alternate which doesn't use screws. So if you don't plan to do something that makes a ton of screws and you want to get the steel screw recipe, I mean, steel beams are good because you can make a ton of screws with that recipe with the steel beams. But if you're not looking for screw recipes right now, making a bunch of pipes and then thinking about those alternates, like you can get the steel frame for modular frames. Steel frames can use pipes. You can use encased industrial pipe for making industrial beams using pipes. You can use, as I say, steel rotor for making pipes with rotors, making rotors easy. Also, the heavy encased frame is a more efficient one, but it uses for heavy modular frames uses steel pipes. So if you can make just enough frames or beams that you need for like whatever use you want to do it for, and then the rest pipes, you have extra pipes, and you're like, I have tons of extra pipes. I can steal some for whatever production. You need pipes for weapons. You need pipes. So if you go with alternates, pipes are king. But if you're not going with alternates, yeah, you could use steel beams. Here's the thing. Also, what you can do, if you section off your steel factory, because it's all constructors. So if you think about this, section off, you have your steel ingots in one section, and now you have like all these steel ingots. You have all these steel ingots being made. If you separate out your production for steel pipes and beams, you can always go change it. You can go swap out the constructors. So if you leave yourself room to go, I don't know what I need right now, so I'm just going to make a bunch of beams and a bunch of pipes, and then later you might find you need beams, so like you can go back and like alternate a little bit. Or you was like, oh, I'm going to go all pipes, and then you can go back and change it to a bunch of pipes. So if you kind of section that off, that beam and pipe production, you can go back and change it later. So if you just give yourself some room in that area to allow yourself that flexibility to come back and modify it so you can reposition where your ingots are going. That way, you don't feel like you're stuck with that number right now. It's like you can do whatever you think you need right now, but you've given yourself some flexibility in that spot to go change things. Iron pipe. I do love, actually, one recipe that I got, was it in the MAM? That I think I mentioned this last stream. So if you guys were here last stream, you saw it. I don't know if I still have it in the hard drive library. Yeah, iron pipe. This recipe is amazing. I mean, don't get me wrong, not necessarily the most efficient recipe in the game. But the fact that you can take iron ingots and go straight to steel pipes, that's so cool. Because there's a ton of iron in the game. I haven't picked it yet, but like I've totally got a small heavy modular frame factory planned just using this. And I'm like, using this and heavy encased frame. And I'm like, this is amazing. That recipe is really cool. So yeah, you can always use iron. If you get that recipe, you can always use it later for iron. But yeah, if you've got a ton of steel ingots, just section off that pipe in beam section. And YouTube just froze. So weird. Like, everything looks fine to me. Maybe I should make YouTube the main out. I mean, I cut down, so... Oh, that just sends you to ADEM. Because I'm using a plugin from ADEM, which is it's a multi-streaming plugin, and I'm only streaming the two things. But unfortunately, it doesn't give me stats for the second stream. I could view the stats for the main stream over to Twitch. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan, Saber. 480 pipes, 120 beams. 120 beams is plenty. You'll build. That'll give you some. That gives you some leftover. That gives you plenty left over for screws. Weird, because it shouldn't. I'm like, let me take a look. Task manager for the streaming machine. Let's see performance. You can't see it. Interesting. Well, my GPU spiked to 63%, but that machine's only streaming, so. But it's sitting. It's sitting at about. Oh, the video encode. I wonder if I saw it. It spiked when I clicked the button. It spiked to 100, but it's sitting about 60. The encoder is sitting at about 65% usage. I'll leave this up and I'll keep an eye on it. So if you guys say YouTube stutters again, I'll peek up and see if it's hitting 100%. I don't know why it would change. It's not like I'm doing anything fancy. All right, let me switch back. I don't think... I wonder if the encoder is just getting overwhelmed, but it shouldn't. Yeah. I'm glad it tells me. Laggy on Twitch, too? That machine isn't doing anything but encoding and sending to you. Right now, it looks like 63%. It's back. It's only sitting at 64% encoding. So weird. Is Twitch laggy too? Is it because I have the task manager up? Wi-Fi says it's sending 27 megabits per second, which is about right. 27, 32. I mean, overall, it... Weird. Because I changed the encoder. It should not be as taxing on the GPU using H.265. So weird. I'll have to look this up. So I'm looking at the GPU encoder. Yeah, it's sitting at a nice 64, 65% usage. So the encoder still has headroom. Haven't watched many double streams. Yeah, I mean, none of them worked right. I don't know. Maybe it's the ADEM plugin. I'll have to go to the ADEM Discord and see if anybody else is having this issue. I'll do that after stream. I'll check it out today. All right, we got this side. Let's plug this side in. Otherwise, if it keeps up like this and I can't figure it out, I'll have to switch to, like, pick one. I mean, I could always try streaming from both PCs. Like, have the gaming PC stream to Twitch and have the other one stream to YouTube, but I don't know what the issue is. The encoder looks fine right now. Now, you guys are about 8 seconds or so behind me. I don't know about Twitch. I don't know what the lag is on Twitch. Or whatever delay. I know YouTube, obviously, it's in re-encoding and sending it out. And I think standard's around 7 to 8 seconds. So we could do this. This makes it not that walkable, but you can always do... We can do catwalks over and stuff. But as I say... Like, I can spend tons and tons of times on the inside of this. But after we're done with it, 99% of the time we see it, it's going to be from the outside. Some people are really good at internals. I've always been walkable, but... And it's like, okay, it's not that bad, but... It's just still tight on these platforms. I could always make these bigger. I can always add one more. It's like, there's room to add more. All right, let's just go ahead and let's be one floor. Like, I don't have to do this same thing all the day. We can go figure out some other stuff. Like, I can, this is busy. Once, like, we figure this out, it's busy work. And it's just a matter of going through and doing it. It's a matter of also figuring out the logistics. So we can kind of figure that out. All right, let's just try doing all the floor holes. That'll be easier. Losing my mind there for a second. Yeah, okay. And then all the floor holes might have fallen into the toilet for an hour or something. Did we get somewhere? I don't blame you, Excited. You were probably distracted doing your own thing. Yeah, I kind of just figured I'm going to use my little standard method. Right now, I think it works. I didn't want to spend... Because I could spend all week on this by myself if I really wanted to. And I could do a different floor differently. But I think for now, doing my standard little package, unpackage setup, right? Little loops, I like it better. So we're going to go with that for now. And if I decide to change that, I can do it off stream. If I come up with some great idea. What? When the... No, go over there. Go over there. Now, for now, I'm going to assume we're going to somehow get every bit of water and stuff underneath without having to cross streams. But we will see. And that's something I can, when we figure out, that's why I said we need to go figure out the rest of it. Like, we got to get the oil, we got to figure out how we're going to get the oil up here, which I still would like to do some piping and belting outside on the building. Be kind of fun. Although most of the oil is that side, and most of the visible side's going to be over here, so you don't want to cross the streams. I always say that for people who do this. I call that when you're doing this and you know, stop it. I call that crossing the streams. Like, people do this, and I'm fine with it. Some people do a sandwich floor and just do this. Like, what was his name used to do it this way? Because he would make it just 4-meter sandwich floor, and he would just cross everything underneath it. You belt it away and you close it up. No one ever sees it. And I think it just depends on the person. I can't do that. I don't like. For some reason, it hurts my soul if I do that. I feel like when I make a sandwich floor, the sandwich floor has to be. It can be chaos, but it has to be an organized chaos. Oh, yeah, it's also a Ghostbusters reference. Crossing the streams. Something you should never do, right? So this will be the fuel coming out of the unpackager. And let's go set the recipe. So this is going to unpackage our fuel, and we'll output the container and the fuel. I'm going to have to worry about head lift on the fuel later. That said, depending on how we do the fuel extractors or the fuel generators, we might not have to worry about head lift too much because they're going to be pretty close by, and depending on what we do, it might work out fine. Because this will generate. Oh, these got to all be set to diluted package fuel. Oh, no, paste. Copy. Paste. So this is 10 times 60, so that's 600 diluted package fuel per line here, basically. And that will run, what's it? It's 10 per 200, so that's about 30 fuel generators. So depending on how big we make those things on the outside or something else, like if we did like Excited's fun little mushroomy thing, could always do all the fuel generators up top, and then we have to pump everything up there. But I think that this will work. Like, I could maybe do something special on a floor if I want to, maybe do some weird thing. I don't have to do this every floor the same. I could do it differently, but that's the loop. We'll worry about it later. Let's jump down. We can do some underbelting so we can kind of figure this out so we have an idea. Because the rest of the floors for that diluted fuel could be exactly the same. And I can do all that as busy work. It's fun. I like doing it by hand. That's why in my last series, they added blueprints. I never really used them very much just because everything was so custom. Although, as I said, we talked about earlier, I think when you find something that's tedious to do, it's a perfect time to use a blueprint. Something you're going to use a lot and tedious. Like if we figure out something for this factory that's pretty, like the outside, and, you know, it's some design I want to use all over the walls, it's going to be a lot easier to probably, like, I might do like some signs that have gradients on them and stuff. And, you know, setting those up as a blueprint, definitely worth it. But I like doing the factories. They're so much fun. Yeah, it's sometimes simple and stuff, but yeah. So that works there. We have no more walkability down below. I need to add some. Let's just go over here first. Stand over here for a second. Let's see if we can figure out this piping scenario. This is the heavy oil residue, right? I think that's the heavy oil residue. So, oh yeah, we can just do this directly. We might be able to, I think we might have to do here. I don't think this is going to work. Yeah, that's too close. See, this might be where I have to make this slightly bigger, but it was all a guess. And it depends on how I do walls. If I make it bigger, then I might do foundation walls or something. But that kind of clips. Although I don't really mind it. I don't know if that, I'm not saying I'm going to use those walls, but figure it out. I could also go vertical with it. We'd have to add a floor and then do it, and then could do that. And we might need to. I'm just going to do this for now, and this is adjustable later. After we get through this floor, it'll be easier because we don't have all the water to deal with. You can just stand under it. I know I'm getting this wrong. I feel like it's going to be one more than I thought it was. Let's see. Yeah, that one's right. That one's right. That one's right. Nailed it. Come on. Click. I need to go make... Oh, yeah, half nudge? Yeah, we could try it. Why not? Why not? Half control. Oh, no. Half nudge. Will it still... I don't think it'll belt. Yeah, it doesn't. It's too close. Like, I might be able to move... Because we're using the whole 8 platforms like this. So the other option is doing something vertical to where... We need a floor to do it because we could do something like this where you could put one of these down on the floor below it and then do this. And then you just bring the pipe down vertically and then you remove this and then you could add the joint on it so it's more vertical. And I might change to do that. This is a minor thing right now, so I will deal with it for now and figure out as a problem for future me, basically. But the concept would be exactly the same. It's just reposition it slightly. Because we have enough room. Like, these are going to be on the ceilings. They're going to be on the ceilings, and I might be able to cover them up some. Like, we need room for the stacks, but it doesn't mean I can't have some, like, angled area or something that blocks them off. I could. The belts can't really do much, but... If I had built pancake floors into this... or sandwich floors or logistic floors, whatever we're going to call them. We have to decide on a naming convention so I don't have to say all 3. But this is the simplest way for right now. I'm going to be more concerned about the look of the outside. We're going to do stuff on the inside, but... And I also have this option. I can extend... I've mentioned before, we have space. We could do another foundation row on either side of this. And that would still be visible. You know, that's going to sit right in the geothermal generator will sit right in the middle. We don't have to see the whole rock formation. So if I had to, I have room to add more. There is room. That would be questionable up here, though, because we're going to run into the same problem. And then the outside. But the outside, I might make pure concrete. I might use coated concrete or some walls or something. So it's fixable. This one's going to be harder, though, because... We need foundation, so I'm just going to have to, we're just going to have to zoop something out so we don't have to, like, dance around this thing. Asphalt works. But yeah, we're going to have the same problem on the outside. I think. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. I'll do this for now, and when we get to the wall, I think we'll be fine. I can do vertical if I need to, so... This is the simplest method for now, so we will come back to it. I want to figure out the rest of the logistics where we figure out how we're going to pipe everything around. So this will make it simple. But I think right now, for the most part, we can go in lines, and we don't have to worry about... Yeah, we don't have to worry about anything blocking. So it seems like this is a nice little way to do it. If we had... Whoa! Standing's hard. I barely noticed that. All right. We'll go figure out the heavy oil residue. The heavy oil residue side has tons of room compared to this side, which we could easily say, why didn't we package it or unpackage it over there? Could have. But we would have had all these belts running across the gap. I mean, it could be cool all the way up. I don't know how much fuel this is. I'm using Mark 1, but it might need... What is it? I said 600. This would actually need Mark 2, wouldn't it? I probably should not mix pipes, but... The water probably needs Mark 2 as well, actually, now that I think about it. Which is why we unlocked it. Even half foundations would work now, geothermal. Yeah, that's true. Half foundations would also help solve the problem. Mark 2 pipes. Let's just quickly... I probably should do the little pipes too, but I'll worry about it later. All right, so at least we know it's Mark 2. As I said, the other option would have been one of these packagers being on this side with the heavy oil residue, and then those belts would have run all the way across the gap. Which going up having like 5 floors of this, 5-6 floors of this, and if we did the TurboFuel as well, might be interesting. Having just the belt slowly send packaged water or something across and unpackaged fuel coming back or something like that underneath. 2 sets of belts could be interesting. But that's something I can do later. It would cause slight problems for the heavy oil residue, though. Because now we'd have to bring the belt crossing this. This would have to be lower. All right, you don't have to be here. So we have tons of room over here. Tons of room. There is an option. If we bring the crude oil up higher and do the heavy oil residue in the middle, let's just say, we could compact it a little bit more. And then we could do diluted packaged fuel on both sides on each floor. So we could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 6 being the kind of a half floor. Although we could underclock it to make it look like a full floor. And then how much heavy oil residue? How much did we need? Let me look back at my numbers. Where am I at? I think we still need... We'd only need about... If we didn't underclock, we'd only need about 38 refiners for heavy oil residue. If we, like, put them all on one floor and try to pipe the stuff around. Although, piping it around is going to be a bit of a pain. But I guess if you connect everything, which I, like, always avoid, because I'm always afraid of that being a CPU problem. But I know a lot of people do it. Then it wouldn't really problem. It would go where it needs to go. Or I could just pipe it so that it does... Each row needs 300, right? 300 crude. So I just pipe it so I got 300, 300, 300. Just send 6 pipes to where they need to go. Could do that if we could find a way. And we might be able to fit all of these on one floor. Maybe. I'm going to remove a couple of these. Still got the inventory space. Just a quick play here. If we think about it, if we can fit... I think across... Right about there. So if we had heavy oil residue, we could also... Ooh, you could do it backwards. Actually. Let's just pretend we're on, like, the 4th floor. Because if we did all the diluted fuel on 3 floors back and forth, it would need 3 floors. So we could do this on the 4th floor. Trying to see if we can fit this into... 1, 2, 3 right here, I think. We could have walkability. Then it's back. That is backwards. I want you this way. Yeah, right there. So we could have the oil come up we could have this would always have a walkway here because we could have some sort of catwalk or something over it, because all this needs is crude oil. And so the interesting news: 10 of these heavy oil residue take 30 crude, so we could have one 600 line feed 20 of these. We might clock them a little differently. No, this is supposed to be 2030. I'm sorry, we need 40 refineries. I adjusted my numbers. I was playing with something, so I only needed like 50 of the other. But like if we do the full 1200, we need 40 refineries. So that works perfectly. So if we were able to size them like that, and either I could have the oil underneath, or you know, if we have a catwalk over this, then you know you could just bring the oil up, and then in a Mark II, and you'd have to do something like this. And then you could have some sort of walkway over on top of it. And then you'd have the back of these refineries facing you, which has its own interesting thing. Sort of. Otherwise, you cut it and go around the other side and then have everything, all the heavy oil residue come out the center. Just depends if you want to see the front and the indicator or the back. It doesn't matter. But that would work. And then how many can I delete before I get a box on the floor? Because then, yeah, we could just do like this. The only thing I have to figure out, we got limited space here for the output. Each one of these floors, except for the last one, which is like 3.5, is 3 1/3 for like the last 6th set of diluted package fuel. Although, as I say, I could underclock it and make it look like a full thing. That's going to need less. So since each one of these needs 300 for a fuel set, and we're going to be making a total of 1,600 heavy oil residue, and obviously 5 of those are going to need 300. So if that's 1,500 divided by 5, that's 300. That leaves 100 left over. So I need to somehow split it into 6 pipes. And 6 pipes of 300. Why does it have to be so difficult? Because this outputs 40. So how would I want to split that up? I obviously could do 3 pipes of 600 and then just split it on the floor. That's fine too. Yeah, I could do that. We could have 2 pipes of 600 and 1 pipe of 400. And that way the 400 one would go to the floor that has the 10 plus the 4 basically set up. That would work. Nobody's got to figure out how to get that 40 refineries into 3 pipes. They output 40. I don't think that works, but... Oh, 15 of them is exactly 600. How do I want to do it? How do I want to do it? Just also checking work. Let's see here. YouTube Studio. It's a live. Okay. What's the ratio for TurboFuel to gens now? 7.5 cubic meters per minute is what I use in TurboFuel. Regular fuel is 20 cubic meters per minute, and TurboFuel is 7.5, I'm pretty sure. I think I've looked it up a couple times, so I am making sure. But yeah, it should run. That's why I think I had a plan. So we're going to make 975 TurboFuel, which will require 780 sulfur and coal. And I just worked that number out because I can get, because I have Mark IV belts, I can get 480 of them out of the pure, and I can get 300 out of the normal node. And so that's where I got the 780 pick. I have an impure node, but I decided to save that for weapons and other stuff. So that's where I got my 975 for the TurboFuel. That's as much as I can make using 780 sulfur with the refineries. With blenders, if you use more oil, you could get even more out of it, but it costs more oil because you use less sulfur. And then to make everything nice, to use the full 1200, I'm also making an additional 2030 regular fuel. So, and that uses 20. So I forgot what's the total fuel, but it's where'd it go? I think the total fuel is like 4,200. I think the total fuel we're making is 4,200. So minus 2030. So no, that's not right. 3,200. I'm sorry, 3,200 total fuel. Same amount as the water. I should have. That's the numbers. All right. Because the water makes your diluted fuel. So that's how much fuel we're making. And 1170 of it is going to the TurboFuel, which will be converted to 975 TurboFuel. And the rest is just regular fuel. We're going to feed more fuel generators. So if we could probably belt this underneath and do it underneath as well, because it's going to have to go. But if we do it on the third floor, we could also do it over. We got room. But the other option is turn these back around, have the oil come around the outside, and then we can do the 3 pipes in the middle. Well, we're going to have to do one floor. We're going to do 20 on one side, 20 on the other. So if it takes... It was 15 to fill up a pipe. So 5 times 40 is 200. Because we said 600 divided by... Yeah, we need 2 pipes of full 600. So we just have that 15. That is filling 1 pipe, and on 5, the 5 doing the other, and then the 2 15s, they do their own way, then we just have to somehow merge the 2 5s. You can also merge it in here in the middle of this. I want some stuff going on. So now 1 full pipe of 600 TurboFuel will run 80 gens, right? 600 divided by 7.5. Yes. Your math is correct. And that's why I like the 975 number as well, because that works out to 130. So it works out nicely. And that just the TurboFuel alone will get us 32.5 megawatts. And then the other, which will be 2030 divided by 20. I gotta put the parentheses for this to work, and then by 250. And so we should get almost 58,000 megawatts out of this. Now, if we add a night, once we do that, if we get a summer sloop augmenter set up, we'll be able to multiply this whole thing. Actually we'll have to add 500. I got to add another one. And then you get to multiply that times 10%. So if we add I've got some other power to increase the thing, but in theory with an augmenter with just this setup, we'll have 64. If we had 2 augmenters, we have 70,000. I don't think I'd want to go much beyond that because it's like 20 summer sloops. There's only like 100 summer sloops in the game. And if it's 10 summer sloops per augmenter, which I learned when I was talking with Excited, I was like, really? Because he set one up really early. 10 summer sloops to build one. So you don't want to build too many because there's only 100 summer sloops, unless you do the duplication bug, which we won't be doing. But that'd be nice. So one or 2 of them I think is pretty good. 2 or 3, depends on what you're doing. I think I'll save summer sloops for like manufacturers and end game products where I want to like double if it's like a complicated thing and I have like 1 manufacturer, I could just like double it. So I think that's a great place to use it. But we'll see. I think that's great for early game factories, especially like where you'll do your first like encased industrial beam or heavy modular frames, just like set up for 1 and then use summer sloops to double the output so you can get double. Late game, it's like there's tons of resources. Kibitz has 3 augmenters on his TurboFuel plant in the same spot as you are. I can't let Kibitz beat me. And I'm getting 50, but he has 58 with the 3 augmenters, right? I'm like, I'm going to have 58 with no augmenters. We're going to beat Kibitz. But I think this will work. Oh, he's close to 100K now. He's got something. You're going to make me go bigger, aren't you? Because if I did the 58,000 times 1.3, that's only 75. I'm only using 1,200 crude. Urgh. Okay, whatever. I'll do something else later, but let's figure this one out first. Because I could use more crude and make even more fuel. I want to use some of it for plastic. Because I could do more. Because I could do more fuel. It's like, I can make turbo fuel, but I could bring more sulfur in, but... 100K, huh? 100K divided by 1.3. So he's making like 76. So close to 100K. So he's probably making... If he's making 75,000 times 1.3, that would get you almost to 100K. So you're saying I need to make another 20,000 and then do 3 augmenters if I want to be kibitz. Not that it matters. I don't think you need to use all the oil. Like, there's like 6 nodes here. And like 2 pures, at least. Maybe 3. And I was going to use 2 of it, and I'm going to get 58,000. But I could totally add another 600. If I allowed myself 1,800 crude, maximize the fuel. Oh, wow, that would actually get us up to 60 refineries. Oh, 80 packagers. Why? I don't need to make canisters. Stop making canisters. I don't need it. Actually, I like those numbers. 5 years later, I finally beat Kibitz. Actually, I like those numbers because with 1,800 crude, we'd need exactly 60 refineries. So I don't have to change the build much. I just now, instead of needing 54, I don't know if that'll beat Kibitz or not, but that would make 3630 fuel divided by 20 times 250. That's 45 alone. I'm not doing the Kibitz thing, but 975 divided by 7.5. Got to do all these parentheses, otherwise the math doesn't work. Times 250. That's 77. So if I close this whole thing up and I did 3 augmenters, that would give me 101. And I only have to use 1,800. Oh, well, I'm going to use normal fuel. I don't want to bring any more sulfur in. I think it's fine. I'll save sulfur for later. I'm just going to beat them up fuel alone. I don't have a train network set up right now, so... Like, I don't want to bring more sulfur in. Like, I can see why I might do that. Now, if I build this factory right, and I think about it later, and I want to build more turbo fuel later, then if I do the turbo fuel on top, I don't know how he gets it in. Is he using buses? Or I guess he uses trucks. I guess I could go elsewhere, but... Okay, yeah, I could do that. But here's the thing. If I do the diluted fuel down here below, and I plan it out like that, like, how much... If I did this for turbo... how is he using all the oil? I don't understand. Like, I don't even need this much fuel to do the same amount of turbo fuel. Like, if we had... Let's say I wanted to get 75,000 watts divided by 250. I'd need 300 generators. So, if we multiply that by 7.5, then we need 2250 turbo fuel. Which is a little bit... less than double what I'm doing now. And you wouldn't need this much fuel. You'd only need... I'm sorry, that's 22. That's a little more than double what I'm doing now. And you wouldn't even need to make as much fuel as I'm going to be making. He's not using it all? I didn't think so. There's no way he's using all the oil. But here's the thing. If I do the diluted fuel like this, I do 1,800 crude, which is good. If I want to add turbo fuel later to it, the good news is I can just add more sulfur and coal, and I can make more turbo fuel, which I can make more rocket fuel. So if I do the turbo fuel on top, I can expand this factory later to make more, which I think will work. Unless I want to change it all to blenders and then whatever. But yeah, we'll go with that. I do think I'll update my numbers, though. We're going to use 1800 crude just because the numbers are nice. And it fits nicely. Don't have to change our factory really at all, except for the heavy oil residue. Need 20 extra refineries. That's okay. That's not a problem. We're going to do that on the 4th floor anyways, but we can still have 3 floors of 60 refineries or 60 setups for that diluted packaged fuel. So that won't need to change the bottom 3 floors. We can set that up. We'll be using 1800 crude. That'll work. It's just a matter of the mid floors will need 60 refineries for heavy oil residue, which makes the numbers a little easier. Because now we need... Yeah, 2400 divided by 600 is 4. So we just divide each pipe by 400. We make 6 pipes. 6 pipes of 400. And that way, each one of those pipes can go to a separate 10 setup of diluted package fuel. And that's not right. Oh, we need 80 refineries. I got to do 4 floors. 20, 20, 20. Oh, 10, 10. Yeah, I got to do 4 floors. That's okay. So we'll do 4 floors of diluted package fuel, which we had to do anyways. I said 3. And we need to do... Oh, yeah, we can just do 4 pipes of 600. So 4 floors, 4 600s. I think that actually makes it easier. Perfect. We're going to do this. And then the 5th floor and half the 6th floor will be heavy oil residue. And then above that will be TurboFuel and, you know, compacted coal. And then, as I say later, if we come back with more sulfur and coal, we can make more TurboFuel, which we'll probably want to use for rocket fuel or ionized fuel, which you need for other stuff later. So we can continue to use this factory later instead of throw it away. It may not be as efficient for sulfur as blenders, but that's a good way to do it. It'll be a crease over. Like if I find I need more sulfur later, then we can come down and update the floors below making fuel. Or update the TurboFuel floors and make TurboFuel with turbo blend fuel or whatever. Because it doesn't matter. We don't have to come back and do blenders for diluted fuel because it's the same numbers. It's just easier. So, yeah, I think we'll do that. So, 4 floors. We're going to use that setup. 4 floors. Oh, this is perfect. You guys have been so helpful to me. This is going to be great. And I might turn this around. So, we need to do, as I said, 4 pipes of 600. So how do we fill... That's still 15 refineries to do 4 pipes of 600. I wonder... I said we used 1.5 floors for the refineries. What if we set it up so we're using the 2 floors and we do like 15 refineries on the floor? That way it just very easily goes 15 refineries of heavy oil residue straight to 600. We don't have to do any funny magic of 15 plus 5. And that way we use the full 2 floors for the heavy oil residue. Yeah, I think that's going to work. Okay. Let's go up there. Let's go play that up. Let's go to floor number 5. Make sure I don't screw this up. I should probably add a sign at each floor so I remember. That's 2nd floor, right? Wait, that's 1 floor. This is 2nd floor. This is 3rd floor. This is 4th floor. I mean, I love Kibbitz. He does big stuff. I've always idolized doing the big stuff because of Kibbitz. So if he's doing his factory here, I've got to do something. My factory doesn't have to be identical. I don't have to do the same thing he's doing, but I'm going to do it differently. But it's expandable. I think my idea is great because it's going to use 1800 crude. We'll have a lot of extra fuel, which means we can make a lot of extra turbo fuel later. I don't know how much. I'd have to look it up, but it does give us that ability to do it, which I think is flexible. All right, that's right. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are all diluted fuel. So heavy oil residue we'll do up here. So we'll have to pump the crude up here, which is only 3 pipes. So we either pump it up with 1, use a water tower, or just pump up 3. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. We don't have to worry about pumping the water up here, all the way up here. We'll have to pump the water up to there, but that is another problem. Hello, Jonas. How you doing? All right. We are going to clear some of this out here. We're going to try to figure this out. I'm going to fill up my inventory if I take all these. So far, so good. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, we're already leaving things behind. What are we leaving? Oh, sheets. Okay, I can get rid of that. All right, full inventory. All right, let's see if we can fit this in. I think if I do 15, how do I want to do it? I could always underclock them and do 20 for the heck of it. You've been playing for 2 hours. Really? I thought I started the game. Oh, I hadn't started the thing before. Oh. If we're going to do 15, I could still do it as 20 and underclock them and save a little power. When's the next episode? Yeah, sorry. I was busy this week. I promise I'll have it out this week. I have a fun little intro plan, too. I don't know if it's going to be good or not, but I'll have the episode out this week. I got to try to cram a bunch of stuff into it so I can then focus on this. So I got a lot. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on in the next episode when I put it out. So I don't know how I'm trying to like figure out how to edit it right. You swapped save files briefly, remember? Oh, you're right. I did do that, old man. You're right. Yeah, I shouldn't. You're right. You're absolutely right, Jonas. I shouldn't stress about it. I should just get it out and do good and then get it out. I don't have to. It doesn't have to be perfect. I agree. There's just a lot going on and it's edit it right. But I think I overthink it because I want to do well on YouTube, but it's like I got to realize I haven't posted in a year or so. The fact that I'm getting 2 or 3K per view for those few files that I've done, I shouldn't be upset about that. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. I'm not upset about it. It just makes me... But I sit there and I think, what could I do better? And then I start overthinking the editing process. I did the wrong one, right? 1, 2, 3. How did I do it? Is there 8 here? There's 8. Okay, so... What did I do down below? Oh, wait, this is way... This is supposed to be over here, okay. I think I did it here. That gives us room. All right. So we do it on this one. Rotate around. All right, that gives us a little room. And I either split the pipe or I join the output. It doesn't matter. We could do it differently on different floors. I found you via our roads videos and had to see more. Yeah, that's where a lot of people see me from, the roads or the merge. Those are my 2 best videos, is the original roads video and the merge grid video. And that's why I should do more guides, because that'll bring more people to the channel. So I've been working on, as I pointed out, I've been working on the roads too. That's why I was also working on roads this week. I kind of got into it this week, and I started really working on the roads and spending my time like, how can I make it better? I forgot someone was having troubles with roads, and I went and loaded it up, and then I started working on it, and I spent some time on that. And I was playtesting something else that I can't really talk about, but I will make sure that I get the episode done this week, because I want to get caught up. I got to get that episode done and out, so then we're kind of to where we're at the stream, and that way I can have time to focus, and then I can focus on some guides. Why does this feel like it's off? But it's not. It's perfect. The Monolith of Stupidity was my fan. I loved that episode too much. The Monolith Stupidity. I didn't know how that episode was going to turn out, but the way it worked out, and the problem is, like, when I did that, I also ended up, like, me and Hellraiser spent a long time on it, and then the whole announcement they weren't gonna do the overclocking thing, kind of, you know, and then we did the editing recording for the jumping off the building, and we kind of finished it up at floor 50. I think that's where we were at basically when it happened. We were both like, yeah, we don't need to do the rest of the floors. And then when I edited it, I basically started to edit it, and then we go on a trip to Florida, and I came back with COVID. That was in the middle of COVID. And so I was like sick and down with brain fog for like 2 weeks, and then, or like a week and a half, and then I started trying to finish editing it, which in the last part of the video, if you hear my voice and it sounds kind of a little bit raspy, that's because I was still kind of recovering. That's kind of why I sound like that. And I was struggling. I was kind of like the end, like you said, someone set up a comment. It's like, did he actually get a successful boop? I was just like, I was in that brain space where I'm like, I just need to get this done. But I loved that episode overall. I liked the way it flowed. It's not perfect, but the jokes in it were funny. Just the way we kind of did random stuff with it. We just had a nice montage of this giant tower build. It was absolutely stupid, which is why we called it the Monolith of Stupidity. But yeah, that's still my favorite video to date. one I'm like most proud of. It's like, and Snut even eventually saw it and commented. That was a happy day. It was like months. I think it was months later, but eventually Snut did comment on it. So if that's one video on my channel, which is, no, that's wrong. If there's one video on my channel I recommend watching, it's finding that episode 15 of my other playthrough. That monolith stupidity is, I love that episode. Some funny stuff we did in that. It was an absolutely stupid idea. I just remember I was gonna do it. I had built it. I had built the Caterium factory, that Caterium wire factory. I had it built. It's at the very start of the episode. That was gonna be the episode, was building that factory. It was just 20 assemblers, and I had built it, and I recorded it. And then Snut came out with that little video about the power, and all of a sudden I had one of those dumb YouTuber ideas. Well, what if I set everything to 1% and make 2,000 assemblers? And I'll just build a tower. And then I realized how much work that was, and that's when for the first time I asked, like, Hellraiser, you know, you keep saying you want to help out. I have an idea. And he learned that when I say I have an idea, that's a bad thing. And he was like, he was all for it. He was all for doing it. And you know, right, 30, 40, 50 floors in, he was like, he was like, I regret my decisions in life. I know I could do this under the floor, but I think here's fine, because we'll build a walkway over it. So that'll be heavy oil, that'll be crude oil coming in from somewhere, and we'll feed it out, and we'll probably do this under the floor. I'm gonna guess. We could do it on the floor too, but we could do it under the floor, even though it's visible from the floor below, but we could do it. Just like that. I don't know exactly, but this is a minor thing, either above or below. Eventually it's gonna go somewhere to be belted. But I did 20, so if we underclock, as I said a minute ago, if we underclock each one of these so that they do 30 each, we're gonna save a tiny amount of power. I think the number is like 1.3 exponent, so it's like 30 times 0.8 to the 1.3 or so. I don't know how that works, but we'll save a tiny amount of power, even though I have more machines. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. Yeah, 1.32. Yeah, it's. I think this is how the power number works. So it'll be something like, it's close. It'll be something like, and I figured out, I did the math. You might be figuring, how in the world did they get to this number? And I forgot exactly how they did it, but it's a logarithmic algorithm. And I think it's because they wanted it to be at 200% overclock. I think they wanted exactly 1.5 times the power. Because if you do a 200% overclock on something, you'll find that, what is that? 1 to the, that's 1%. 1 to the 1.321928 or something. It's 100 divided by some. I forgot, but the number works out, I think, to exactly. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was supposed to be. I did it backwards. So it's 30 times 200% to the 1.321928. Oh wait, two. So yeah, so 75. So that's 1.5. Basically, it comes out to 2.5. So it works out the math. So I think that's what they did. I think they picked that target number. They said, we want 200% overclock to be 1.5 times the power. How do we do that? And I think it's a logarithmic number they came up with. So it's I figured out there's a logarithmic equation, and you end up coming out to that 1.321928 number. So I think that's how that number came about. I forgot exactly how it's done, but yeah, you use log 10 or 2 or so. I forgot what it was. I spent time figuring it out one day, and I got it to get to the number, and I was like, okay, that's probably how they did it. It was pretty simple. I just forgot. obviously this in front of the stairway is not going to work, but that's not a problem. That stairway is temporary. All right. Anyways, we were doing this. So we'll figure out one floor here. And I can do this anyway, and this is busy. Once we're kind of got the basic idea, if I decide to change it, it's just busy work. Just me going in and playing with the designer template, and I can spend all the hours that I want doing that offline. So that's coming out. If we underclock all of these, we said we'll underclock all of them to 30. And that way, a full row of 20 on this set will output a full Mark II pipe full, 600. And we'll join that. So we'll do this. We have to do this on this side, on that side, and the same thing on the floors above it. And that way, each section of the floor is generating a full 600 pipe of heavy oil residue. And that'll require a total of 1,800 crude. So like 400 per floor, right? Something like that. Or 400 per quarter, half the floor. It's 200% overclock. Well, 1.5, just gonna say it. So basically at 200% overclock, you're gonna be at 1.5 times the power. I meant is basically means you're spending 50% extra power. You're getting still the 30, so that's why I say it'd be 30 times. It's really times 2.5. So I should say 2.5 times the power, but it's like at that when I say 1.5 or something, I guess I'm saying it wrong. But my point being is that you're overclocking 2 times. If we have no increase in power, it'd be exactly 60 megawatts. But we want to multiply that by 50, by, let's say 1.5. That's why I meant the 0.5. So that's why it ends up being like a 2.5. So you're getting the normal amount plus 50%. So I guess I'm saying it wrong. So it's when you overclock 200%, you're getting 250% of the base power. I should say it that way. So you're getting it's just a little bit more than what you would spend having 2 machines at 100% is basically. So it's not that bad as it used to be. It used to be a 1.6, I think it was. So if you were overclocking 200%, that'd be 2 to the 1.6. It would have been like it's like nearly 3 times. So you get you're like gaining it all. It's like doing 3 machines, but for the value of 2. So when they lowered it to that 1.3.2, yeah, it's made up math. It's weird, but yeah, you're basically spending a 50% extra power of machine. You're spending like half of machine's power to get 2 machines output. I feel like it's nice. It saves you space, but it's not as painful as it was before, where it was basically 3 machines output, 3 machines power for 2 machines output. So I probably said that wrong, but I hope that made sense. But I just meant how they came to that weird 1.3219 or whatever number. I should just paste these. It was just some weird. I think what they did was they decided what power they wanted it to be at 200%, and then worked backwards from there. Yeah, the log base of 2 something like that. Yeah, that's what I meant. So. That was just my guess of how they came to that weird number versus the original 1.6 is the multiplier. Because I was curious when I first saw that number. I was like, 1.32, blah, blah. I'm like, how did they come to that? And I was just playing with the multipliers, and I noticed the 2.5 basically multiplier when you're at 200%. And I was like, oh. And then I worked backwards from there, and I found it. I'm like, oh, I'm pretty sure that's how they figured it out. If they didn't figure it out that way, going backwards, then they have some weird math genius. Yeah, it's only for production machines. Obviously, if you overclock like a coal generator, the coal generator doesn't cost any more power. You're just generating twice the power, and you just need twice the input. So for like something that's generating power, there's not really a penalty. But for production machines, it's just a bit of a power penalty. And I feel like it's just not as brutal as it was before, which is nice. Especially in the early game. It's like overclock and constructor. You're, 50% here or there. You save a space, you save a constructor, and you use just an extra megawatt of power or something. It's minor. How you doing, Walker? Well, I'm back. I'm doing streams on Monday right now. I'm trying. I wanted to get one in last week, but I kept meaning to do it, and then something would happen. So I need to get some stream. I need to get a stream or two in this week, even short ones, just an hour or two. Even if I'm just editing, to be like, I want to hang out and chat on Twitch and do some editing or something. I don't know. Zoe, sorry, Zoe. I apologize, Zoe. Please forgive me. How you doing? I was reading the chat with the big long things and talking with Warp, and I saw Walker at the bottom, and I didn't look up, so I apologize. You're right. I try to greet everybody. So my bad. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you. I appreciate that, Zoe. I will try to make sure next time. The chat systems, I have like, as I put it before, I have like this little Elgato prompter, this little thing, and I brought the chats. So I'm looking at myself. I have myself boxed in between two chat screens. And yeah, right. I scroll through it, I look, and I try to keep up, but sometimes I fail and fail miserably. All right. So that is going to be one section. So we've got to do that 3 more times. Obviously, we'll pretty it up somehow later, but if we do that 4 times, that'll generate exactly 600 heavy oil residue, which will be needed by 1 floor of our diluted package fuel. I'll probably use Mark II. I'm just doing it quickly because it's on my hotbar. I'll clean it up. Right now, it's more like figuring out the logistics. Because I can go back and through and do all that stuff quickly. Because we got to do, like, as I said, we got to do 5. We did 1 floor of this. We did one quarter. We got to do one. We got to do that 5 more times. I got to do this 3 more times. And this is all going to travel down to the diluted package fuel section. And we've got that worked out. We just need 4 pipes. That's why we're going to do 4 times. And each pipe will go to 1 floor, which is nice. And then we got to figure out, we got to get the little bit of, some of the packaged fuel has to go up to, this is the 5th floor. So we'll have to go, 6th floor will be another heavy oil residue. The 7th floor is where TurboFuel will start. And we're going to need exactly 52 refineries for the turbo, which is the man. I like doing. I'm glad we did it this way, because before everything was like, before I used to do like 920 or turbo fuel, like 975 turbo fuel works out good because it's 52 refineries, no fractions, which is nice. The assemblers are a little bit, it's like 31.2. It's not bad. But then originally I was doing the 2030 fuel just to make it 1200 crude, and it was like 53.333 repeating refineries. But now that I bumped it up to like 600 more crude, it's now just a totally perfectly 80 refineries. I like that. Just makes the numbers nicer. And I think it works out well with the floors. So those outputs will all join. You're right. It's going to have to be a Mark II pipe. I could do it all Mark II. We might as well do it. What the heck? We'll have to join them below. One pipe. Well, I don't know where to bring the pipes. At some point, we'll bring all the pipes together, so it'll look good. Yeah, I'm getting somewhere, Ed. Finally. We'll bring all the pipes together. These should all be Mark II as well. No, it's only going to be 300. I could use Mark I, but it could be Mark II. It doesn't matter. You can use Mark II everywhere. I have this bad habit of using only what I need to, instead of just going everything Mark IV belts, or everything my top belt and everything my top pipe. So what is that? Oh, this is the heavy oil residue, Ed. We'll have a walkway over it. I could also bring it underneath. We're going to bring 400 crude in. Or we're underclocking it. So actually it's 600 crude, right? Yeah. So we'll bring... No. We'll have to break the crude up. So it's 20 times 22.5, which is 450. So we'll have to break the crude up. But that's easy. We can break the crude up downstairs into 4 pipes of 450. So each one of these can get a 450 pipe of crude. So this will have to be Mark II. My bad. No, Mark II. Might as well do it now. I should just put Mark II as my default on my hotkey, considering everything we're doing. So this will bring 450 crude up oil over here to these refineries, which are slightly underclocked, just so that there's 20 of them and it fills the room up. I could remove some of the refineries and clock them differently, and that's all stuff that I can play around with whenever I want. That's not a big deal. Are you going to use the polymer? We're going to end up making 1,200 polymer, and I actually have an idea for it. We'll probably start by sinking it just because, just to get the factory started. But I have a computer factory I wanted to do, and it's going to need like 280 plastic. So instead of having to like do something else to make that plastic, I can just, I'm pretty sure, what's it? What's the recipe? The polymer to plastic recipe? Residual plastic, here we go. So 60 polymer makes 20. It's not as good as rubber, but if we have the 60 polymer, or we have 1,200 polymer divided by 60 times 20, we can make 400 plastic with it. Yeah, so we can make up to 400 plastic, but I need two. If I do the computer factory I'm looking at with the numbers I have, I don't know if I will, but if I do it, that's like 17.5 computers, but I might do other alternates. And it's only using for the computers, not, I was thinking of using silicon circuit board, so I wouldn't need the plastic for it. It would only need like 130 copper, because I have an impure copper node I wanted to use, a little bit of water, and a little bit of quartz, and we have plenty of quartz nearby. And I could bring the 280 plastic in from the polymer resin, and I have an easy, like, almost 18 computers. And if I can make 400 plastic, might be able to make more. But I might change the alternates, and that recipe might change. So, but that's a good use for it. So instead of just sinking it, but we probably, we're turning this on, we'll probably just sink it to get rid of it for now. And then once we're done with it, or once we kind of get this factory running, then I can deal with it. But we'll pipe it down somewhere. We'll belt it down somewhere to be sunk, not way up here. And that way we can pull from it and then turn it into plastic or rubber for another project. Because it's certainly worth it to keep it and use it. Or I could use some of it for fabric too, so we can then set up some automated mask creation. Maybe we could send a little bit of fabric over to our weapon store, our weapon shop, our chaotic weapons shop over there. Add masks, add the filters. So that's, because I don't need, if I only need 280 plastic, I have a little extra left over. So yes, so that, we will use the polymer resin at some point. We'll just got to make sure, a mental note, that we bring it down so that we can access it. So 2 floors, so 450 line. All right, let's go ahead and repeat that on this side real fast. That's not too bad. Whoa, fell off. I like this. We are getting somewhere. This stream has been immensely helpful. Because I had stared at it. I was like, I built the floors, and I'm like, I started throwing the refineries down, and I'm like, yeah, we're going to work on the stream. I'm like, you know what? I know some people are going to have good ideas, and we'll come up with it. We'll find somewhere. And thanks to a few different things that have been said, I'm now trying to compete with Kibbs a little bit in my own way. The numbers are going to work out. The numbers are actually better than they were before. And I have a partial plan going. We need to figure out the TurboFuel. I don't think that's going to be too bad. We'd have to have something that does compacted coal. And then we also have to pump up all the dilute. How much diluted fuel are we going to need? Oh, still only 1170. So we only have to pump up 2 pipes. 2 pipes of fuel, which isn't too bad, to the top for doing TurboFuel. Yeah, don't be too mad about. I know, Ed. Don't knock the pipe work yet. I know it's simple. I'll do something with it later. And plus, I was like, I can put a walkway over it if I wanted to. So don't worry too much about it. It's simple. Like, and also, as I said, like, this is something, if I've got the logistics worked out, I could sit here and spend some hours, offline playing with the refineries and the pipe work, and like, I might lift it up. Like, I could literally do, if I wanted to, if I wanted to go higher, I could literally do this and then do overhead filling and do this. I could do this too. So for right now, I'm just sort of, this is basic templating pipe work. So I hate on it yet. It's just put it together and get it work kind of thought process worked out. I can refine the piping. This is kind of a pain in the butt, but I can refine it afterwards. Right now, I'm still just trying to work out all the logistics. My busy work. Next week, we'll come back, and I'll probably have made some progress on this, and it'll probably look better. Because you know me, Ed, you've been on with me. You've recorded with me on the side things. I could spend hours doing this stuff. So I'm just trying to make sure we make some progress today. I think focusing on the overall logistics today is a good idea. And then I can sit here. I should have rebound this thing. Let me redo it now. Mark 3. So we'll clean that up. So I will clean up this pipe work on my own time. And then you all can appreciate it next stream. I'll play around with it. Because I don't know if I'll do overhead, underfeed, overfeed. Whoopsie. I know, it's freaky. Like, this is what you call early, you know, starter level pioneer version of piping. But it works. It'll work for now. Just paste all these heavy oil residue recipes. And we know we're going to have another floor doing this whole thing. YouTube just stuttered and repeated itself. I don't know what's going on. I just looked up. Video encoder, I don't see anywhere on the line, the graph. It still looks like it's 60, somewhere in the low 60s the whole time. The video encoder is not being overwhelmed at any point. I wonder if it's YouTube, or I wonder if it's the ADEM plugin. Because it's true, I'm using 2 encoders. Because to Twitch, I'm obviously encoding H.264 at 6 megabits per second. The maximum you could pretty much do with Twitch. Now, Twitch probably isn't transcoding for me. So what I probably need to do in the future, because you can do, I think there's advanced, they got the new advanced beta program. It was 3 minutes ago. Oh, maybe 5. Oh, sorry. It's fine on Twitch, but like, there's a new thing now where I could sign up and I could do multiple encodings. So I could do a 720 and a 480, and it doesn't have to be done by Twitch because Twitch may not be doing it for me. Because obviously I'm not an affiliate. And that way people that are like trying to watch on their phone or something are not having to download 6 megabit per second source. Because it may not work for some people. Like that, if they're on their mobile phone out in the middle of somewhere, they don't want to download 6 megabits per second to watch a stream. You know, 480p might be all they need on a tiny screen. I don't know. So I might have to do that as well. I don't know what's up with Twitch, but it could be the ADEM plugin, because the ADEM plugin is the one doing the multi-streaming. But it should be, I should be able to add, 7 streams to this, as long as your video card can handle it. Obviously to YouTube, I'm kind of doing a heavy stream. I do 20 megabits, or I was doing AV1 last week, but I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. Maybe you're getting the source. I don't know what's going on. It's so weird. And it wasn't until someone pointed it out. Someone watched the recording of the live stream on YouTube, and they commented on it. They said whenever I placed blueprints, they were noticing it. Yeah, it shouldn't be. I think for most people in YouTube transcodes it all, so you're not like getting source file on YouTube. YouTube is taking it, transcoding it on the fly, and then outputting it. So I thought maybe last week, maybe the AV1 was probably, I thought maybe I was overloading my encoder. I wasn't looking at the encoder usage. I thought maybe the AV1 was occasionally getting overloaded. That's why I have a separate PC. That video card is doing nothing but encoding the 2 streams. There's a blueprint hologram bug? Maybe. But someone said that it was happening, the stuttered and was happening on YouTube when I was placing blueprints. So, frozen stuttered again? Oh, okay, I just looked up. What is a copy? The video encoder hasn't changed, but I did see a blip for the performance of the GPU, and it says copy. But I don't know what that means. I don't know. It cuts out for a second or two infrequently, but don't get hung up on technical aspects. They aren't catastrophic during the stream. Just keep pressing on for content. All right, that's all I can do. Streamer tip, that's all I can do. I'll have to figure it out. I'll keep this in mind, and I'll try to look on some Discord forums, see if I can find anybody else having this problem. It's weird. See if Twitch is better. Like, I don't know. I don't see what's going on in Twitch much. It's like, I don't know if I'm not an affiliate, so I'm not advertising on Twitch, but I don't know if Twitch is advertising. I don't know if Twitch is adding ad breaks regardless. So someone let me know. If they're not, because I'm not an affiliate, that'd be great. But if they are, I can't do anything about it. I have no control over it. YouTube might be a little bit. They keep pushing that stuff. I try to make it as conservative as possible, though. Maybe YouTube's doing an ad and you have an ad blocker or something. All right, good. No ads on Twitch? Okay. Probably because I'm not an affiliate. Because I know, like, the dev stream is not an affiliate or anything anywhere, so they don't have any ads. So that could be it. Did I do these? I did these, okay. I have no idea how I'm going to belt these, and that's not really a problem. I do know the one thing I want to do for the 2 floors that are doing this and the 4 sections of the 4 belts. Somehow I want the 4 pipes to come together and travel down. How that's going to be and where, I don't know. That's what I want. But they just got to go down, so we don't have to worry about any head lift when it comes to this heavy oil residue. Which is nice for that, at least. 100% Shazbot happens. For YouTube, so for a while I've been watching its freezing video quite a bit now. Stutter and freezes each time you mention it, but stops for a second or so later. I don't know. I don't see him. At least hardware-wise, it doesn't look like it's a problem. I'll check it out. I'll check the ADEM Discord, which is what I'm using for multi-streaming, as I said, after the stream, see if I find anything. So I don't know. I don't know if anything. There's nothing I can do midstream about it, unfortunately. All right, so that's 1 floor of heavy oil residue. Piping is temporary. Let's go ahead and at least put the refineries down for the second one. Then we'll go think about TurboFuel. Because if we can at least get an idea about how I want to do the TurboFuel, then it's a matter of just doing logistics afterwards. All the logistics. Now that's rotate another way. I could rotate this. I won't do all the piping for this one. We'll just rotate it. Because I'll figure out if I want to do something different for the piping, and then I'll pipe this one up. But we'll get them all down. That's great for the encoder. All those little shiny bits. Oh, we're out of motors. That's okay. I have a whole bunch of motors down there, but it'll fill up quickly. There we go. Oh, those are backwards. No. That one's not backwards. So I'll rotate that. That one's backwards. There we go. I wouldn't be surprised if the encoder goes nuts on that. Yeah, 100% non-catastrophic press on is what we're going to do. That's all I can do. Can't focus too much on it. All right, let's do it over here. We do not have enough motors, so let's jump down there and grab some extra motors. This is where, when I dismantled the one from your last stream, I put them all in here, which I had to come grab a few things. So, how we doing everything else? Oh, we're running off everything, huh? That's a problem. Do I have any more pipes? I grabbed all the pipes earlier. I think we've exceeded